Energy's back, and it's a good thing they were able to defend Earth without Goku. And Piccolo thanks Vegeta for his help, but Vegeta tells him they're not allies. He was just fighting because there was another Saiyan involved, and he's never going to turn down a good fight. Sure, Piccolo's very familiar with that type of bravado. Anyways, the fighters all heal up. But this isn't the last threat they're going to face alone. First off, around this time, Garlic Jr. is finally able to escape the dead zone. Now, he's not going to attack right away. He still needs to make plans, but he's going to return to Earth soon. But coincidentally, another villain is freed at the same time. With the Tree of Might absorbing a bunch of energy and nutrients from Earth, I would guess that a lot of Earth's water is taken too, including water taken from the ice around Earth. On a faraway frozen part of the planet, a lot of the ice is melted, temporarily. Everything's restored after the Tree of Might is destroyed, but this causes something to thaw out temporarily. Dr. Cochin has been planning for a while now. After seeing the Tree of Might, he wasn't really sure what to do, but he immediately rushed over to where Dr. Wheelo was, wanting to make sure the preserved remains of him were safe. And they're better than safe. They were freed from the ice. He's quickly able to retrieve them, and now he doesn't need Shenron to melt the ice. His plans can be set in motion. Dr. Wheelo can finally return. But he has some ambitious plans. A warrior that Dr. Wheelo's brain can get transferred to. For now he has a mechanical body, but soon he'll have a far better organic one. But they can't strike just yet. With both Garlic Jr. and Dr. Wheelo planning their next moves, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel. And it showed me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. After Turles' defeat, a few more villains are about to emerge. Dr. Wheelo has escaped the ice, and Garlic Jr. has escaped the dead zone. With these two arriving at the same time, how is that going to affect things? We'll cover that and more in the second part of What If Everything Was Canon. A few months after the encounter with Turles, Porunga revives Krillin and Yamcha. Since Krillin's soul needs to be transported to Earth, this takes up 3 wishes. And in 3 months' time, Tien and Chaozu can come back too, and the Namekians will go to New Namek. Vegeta's thinking about leaving Earth in order to train, but instead he decides to stay. One day, astronomers on Earth discover something weird. A planet has drawn close to Earth, the Makio star. Now, for everyone else on Earth, this doesn't really affect them, but for Garlic Jr., it allows him to escape the dead zone. And I guess for the first time in a What If Ever, I get to cover the Garlic Jr. saga. Not the movie, the filler arc from the anime. So this is going to start pretty much like normal. In case you're not familiar with the arc, Garlic Jr. goes to procure something called the Black Water Mist, which is capable of brainwashing people. Plus, he's also going to recruit some allies, which are the 4 monarchs, aka the Spice Boys. And now, Garlic Jr. could finally strike back. First, with the Black Water Mist, he's able to turn some people into vampires. The Spice Boys are sent down to the surface to help him, while Garlic stays on the lookout. He traps Kami and Popo, just like normal. As he plans his next move, the Black Water Mist gets Yamcha, Bulma, Krillin, Roshi, and seemingly Piccolo. But there are 2 people that are able to escape the grasp of the Spice Boys and defeat them. They try and go after Vegeta, but he's far too strong for them to fight. And same for Gohan. Now, Piccolo got unlucky when he got possessed by it, but what they don't know is that secretly, Piccolo is immune to this. So it seems like he's one of their minions right now, but Vegeta and Gohan definitely aren't possessed. And with the weird situation here, the 2 of them are forced to team up. They fight the Spice Boys together, and with relative ease, they kill them all. They eventually find out that to reverse the effects of the black water mist, they're going to have to go to the lookout. The ultra divine water can apparently reverse the effects, but they only have 24 hours to do so. The two of them go up there, and this is where they encounter Garlic Jr. He has no clue who Vegeta is, but he remembers Gohan, the same person who defeated him before, that kid that had exceptional power. But while he's distracted by these two, Piccolo sneaks onto the lookout, revealing that he's actually not possessed, and he's able to free Kami and Popo in the process, which is good. Kami and Popo will work on healing everybody. And Vegeta's just left really confused because he has no clue who this guy is or what that planet is that's drawing near to them. Since Vegeta's pretty familiar with space and the different planets out there, he might actually know about the Serpent Race, but he doesn't know about any of the events that happen with Garlic Jr. here. But Garlic Jr. is happy to monologue, explaining what happened to him and how he's been sealed away in the Dead Zone. Also, how he escaped the Dead Zone. He also spent time training in the Dead Zone, just to grow stronger for his escape. Of course, the Machio Star helped him get even stronger than that, and that's what allowed him to finally break free. But Garlic is way stronger than when they first encountered him, and he powers up to his max form. In his super form, they're amazed by the power he's showing off. He's stronger than even Frieza. So now the question is, would they be able to defeat someone with this level of strength? If Goku were here, as a Super Saiyan, maybe they'd be able to. Now they actually know that Goku's alive thanks to Porunga confirming it for them, but he's not here. They have to fight this threat on their own. And unlike Turles, this is going to be a lot harder. Garlic fights them all off at once, and it seems like this is an unwinnable battle. But weirdly enough, Garlic starts to feel that his power is draining. And not in the sense that someone's sapping his power from him, but the effect of the Machio Star is not as potent anymore. He has no clue why. He looks up in the sky and still sees it there, which also tells Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta that maybe if they destroy that planet, that'll help them. So they're going to have to aim to do that. As the fight continues on, Gohan, Piccolo, and Vegeta slowly get an advantage over Garlic, which makes no sense to them. Why are they suddenly stronger than him? They haven't increased in strength. Actually, they've gotten weaker because of their injuries. Now, Garlic is still pretty strong thanks to his extra training, but he loses the full boost of the Machio Star. Despite his immortality, Garlic Jr. isn't able to overcome them thanks to the loss of power. So, he foolishly opens the Dead Zone again. And then, something really weird happens. Garlic is sucked back into the Dead Zone. They look up in the sky and they see the color of the Machio Star has changed. Now, since the planet is so far away, they can't really tell the difference, but just from the light reflecting off the planet making it twinkle in the sky, they could tell something's weird with it, especially because the light eventually dissipates, and they see a shockwave. The planet bursts into multiple pieces. Garlic screams as he's sucked back into the Dead Zone. His plan was foiled. He's going to be trapped in here for eternity. Then the lookout violently shakes, as it split into two. Something flew into the lookout from space. Actually, it was something from the Machio Star. Everyone's jaw drops when they see who's there. It's a very familiar looking fighter. It looks like they're seeing a ghost. He says the Machio Star served him very well. He's not sure what was just going on up here, but it doesn't matter. He apologizes for interrupting anything. It's Turles. But they killed him. They know it. They even buried him. But something's different about him. His skin looks to be a little more pale. And he still does have a scar from that fatal attack that hit him, though it is covered up by refashioned armor. And his ki feels really strange, like there's something interfering with it, something blocking it. Oh, they must think he's Turles, don't they? He isn't. He introduces himself. His name is Dr. Wheelo. Let's rewind a bit. After Wheelo was freed from the ice, Kochin was trying to figure out what to do next. Now, he was thinking of trying to draw Vegeta, Piccolo, and Gohan to their lab. That way, Dr. Wheelo could take one of their bodies and become the strongest warrior, but as he was looking more into it, Dr. Kochin found something more interesting. He, of course, wanted to know why the ice melted in the first place. He saw what happened with the Tree of Might. A random giant tree appeared on Earth and then disappeared. So, he goes over to the site where it happened, and he found a corpse. Turles' body was never destroyed. It was just kind of left there and buried. His soul is now in hell, but his physical body was left behind. Of course, the body had partially decayed, causing his skin to become grayer and almost zombified. But somehow it still looks really good for someone who's been buried here for a while. The fruit of the Tree of Might still coursed through his veins. Of course, it didn't keep him alive, but it helped vitalize his body, keep it from fully decaying. And this is also helped by being near the site where the Tree of Might once is. There's a ton of energy around there. Curious, Dr. Kochin studied the body and found out that this was some sort of alien. He restructured the body, fitting it with some reinforced mechanical parts as well, and recovering on injuries. It still retains a lot of the great power that it had before, and he transferred Dr. Wheelo's brain to this body. Wheelo never got to use his mechanical body. He doesn't need to. He now uses the body of Turles. And Turles also did have something interesting on him. Another seed for another Tree of Might. And the only reason they found out about this is because when it was buried at Turles' body, it started to slowly sprout, growing roots into Turles. It was a pretty disgusting sight, but it gave the doctor something to work with. Now, he could plant this on Earth and sap it of its energy, but that's not really a great idea. Instead, they saw a better opportunity. With the Machio star approaching, they decided that once it got here, they would take a rocket up into space, plant it on that planet, and then take a fruit from a tree that's planted on that planet. And that's exactly what they did. While Garlic Jr. was attacking, Dr. Cochin and Dr. Wheelo were on that planet. They grew another tree of might, Dr. Wheelo ate a fruit from that tree, and he got far stronger from it. And the second he ate the fruit, he jumped right back to Earth. Yes, he jumped from that planet to Earth. Although, it did kill Cochin in the process, but Wheelo doesn't care at all. The power of the jump completely destroyed the planet too. The Tree of Might sapping energy from the planet was what powered down Garlic, and the planet being fully destroyed, that inadvertently sent him back to the dead zone, making him not strong enough to escape. And now we're back to the present. Dr. Wheelo is on Earth in Turles' body. This is round 3 for them. First the Spice Boys, then Garlic, then Wheelo. And Wheelo is really strong. While Turles did die, with his body being recovered, it got a nice boost in power from healing. Plus, it was reinforced with mechanical parts, making him even stronger. And on top of that, he's strengthened by another fruit from the Tree of Might. And as Wheelo fights all 3 of these fighters, he realizes that he is the world's strongest now. He doesn't need anyone else's body. What he doesn't know is that there is a much stronger fighter out there. Actually, there's a few stronger fighters out there, but I digress. Vegeta promised himself he wouldn't lose another fight. He's gonna win here, especially because this guy isn't a true Saiyan. He's a mockery of a Saiyan warrior, puppeting that body like it's his. You can't imagine how weak Wheelo must have been to take the corpse of a Saiyan, and that body won't match true Saiyan might. But Wheelo begs to differ. He defeats Vegeta pretty quickly. This body is better than a Saiyan's, much better. Piccolo tries to fight him, but Wheelo's able to overpower him too, riddling Piccolo's body with Ki Blast, not killing him, but severely injuring him as Wheelo then kicks him, setting the unconscious Piccolo down to the surface of Earth. And now to kill Gohan. But Gohan's furious. He's been pushed to his limit twice a day. First he had to face Garlic Jr. again, who was annoying to fight before. And now, they're fighting an enemy that they thought they killed. They thought they were done with Turles for good. He's tired of all these threats coming to Earth, and he doesn't have his father here to help him. He's Earth's last hope. But seeing Piccolo nearly killed like that, that's what pushes Gohan over the edge. Once more, his rage explodes. And Wheelo's taken aback. Gohan gets a huge boost in power, and then briefly, his hair even changes color. Vegeta's barely conscious, but as he's on the verge of passing out, he's not sure if he's hallucinating or not. He sees Gohan briefly go Super Saiyan. Not sure if he's in a dream or not, Vegeta uses the last of his energy to stand up, and walks over to where Gohan's fighting. The two stand back to back. Vegeta launches a Gallico. Gohan launches a Masenko. The two beams swirl together. Wheelo tries to copy Turles' kill driver, but it's completely engulfed by the other beam. The combined Gallic Masenko sends him flying into space, incinerating him, fully destroying Turles' body and killing Wheelo for good, expanding out as it also destroys the remains of the Machio star, illuminating the night sky. Exhausted, Gohan collapses and passes out, with Vegeta also going unconscious and Piccolo laying on the ground below. They're able to cure everyone of the black water mist, but they can't believe what they just witnessed. Not just the two enemies they encountered, but Gohan going Super Saiyan. That must be the form that Goku used on Namek. They never got to see it yet, they only heard about it. Though, they do have a bigger issue. The Lookout is now split into 2 pieces. Vegeta's definitely going to stay on Earth now. He still isn't sure if what he saw was a dream or not, but Kami and Popo confirm it. Gohan actually did briefly go Super Saiyan there. He's tired of this nonsense. All these villains coming back, and then he's still unable to become a Super Saiyan. Even Kakarot's kid did, but Gohan doesn't even remember it. He did it on accident and can't use the form willingly. Meanwhile, out in space, the Frieza Force is able to find Frieza's body as they start rebuilding him. Tien and Chaozu are revived, and the Namekians go to New Namek. But before Mecha Frieza comes to Earth, somebody else decides to show up. All the other Namekians are gone, but one more comes to the planet. It's Lord Slug. He had to wait for the Dragon Balls to recover on Earth. So, exactly a year after they were last used, that's when Lord Slug gets here. He tries to do this more covertly, and he's able to get the Dragon Balls, then using them to restore his youth. Wishing for, you guessed it, eternal life. Of course, the main fighters on Earth right now are Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Krillin. Vegeta has been reluctantly teaming up with everyone, but he sits this fight out at first, just to see if they can handle it. Combined, Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin fend off Lord Slug, and then he becomes a giant. Piccolo has tried to get Gohan to tap into Super Saiyan again, but in this battle he can't. He briefly is able to summon the power, though he doesn't fully manifest it. It results in a weird form that almost looks like Super Saiyan, but isn't actually utilizing the full power of it. It does some damage to Lord Slug, but not enough to kill him. So Slug defeats these 3 fighters, but then Vegeta steps up, and he has a big grin on his face. It looks like he's the strongest on Earth now. Slug isn't sure what he means, but Vegeta says while Slug might be a Super Namekian, Vegeta has become a Super Saiyan. He's been training vigorously ever since Garlic Jr. And thanks to seeing Gohan use it earlier, he thinks he finally figured out the secret to it. And it's good timing for Slug, because Vegeta got this just about a few weeks ago. Vegeta strains himself greatly as he powers up. forcing out this transformation that he recently unlocked. Vegeta shows off his Super Saiyan form, and with this power, he's able to completely overwhelm Lord Slug and kill him. He's glad to finally be back up top. And even though Vegeta's a loose cannon, thankfully, he's not a villain to them anymore. He's definitely not a good guy, but they don't have to worry about Vegeta killing them. So even though he's the strongest on Earth and is a Super Saiyan, they're not too concerned. Especially because he's still waiting for Kakarot to show up. One day, somebody else shows up though. It's Mecha Frieza, showing up there with King Cold. They feared the Super Saiyan for a while. The legend of the Super Saiyan actually came from long ago. Not just in Planet Vegeta's history, but apparently, Frieza's ancestor Chilled was defeated by a Super Saiyan. Of course, that's completely unconfirmed. Frieza has no way of knowing that. But the good thing is, there should only be one Super Saiyan, Goku. And as far as Frieza knows, Goku's dead. But somebody else appears to stop Frieza before Vegeta can go up and fight him. It's Trunks. He goes Super Saiyan and defeats Frieza and Cold just like normal. Despite Gohan and Vegeta getting Super Saiyan earlier, Trunks' timeline still remains the same. Those two would be stronger because of the head start, but the androids are simply too strong for them to counter, so that's what leads to them dying still. But when Goku returns, Trunks warns him of a few things. For one, the heart virus. 2, the androids. But 3, there's something else that Goku doesn't expect. Originally in Trunks' timeline, he said Vegeta was able to kill King Cold, but before he got to Mecha Frieza, Goku appeared on Earth and killed him. And while everyone besides Vegeta was surprised to find out about King Cold's existence, it turns out he has another family member, a brother. Trunks warns them of one more threat, which he feels confident about them defeating. But he doesn't realize that he's messed up the timeline, so maybe not. Maybe this villain won't show up at the same time. He could be more prepared for all they know. He could train. Because after Frieza and King Cold's defeat, Cooler came to Earth. So within the next few weeks or months, they have to watch out for him. Trunks returns to his timeline and says he'll be back in 3 years. He wishes them good luck against Cooler, and he hopes that they'll be able to defeat the androids. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Garlic Jr. returns, but so did Turles, although it was Dr. Wheelo piloting his body. And Lord Slug showed up too. The threat of the androids and Cooler is on the horizon. We'll be covering all that and more in this third part of What If Everything Was Canon. Trunks messed up the timelines by time traveling. He didn't realize how much he was doing it, but this did alter things. Now, in the future version of the events in this story, what happened was everything went the same as it went so far. Then Cooler came to Earth and was killed by Goku. But after that, Goku died of the heart virus and the androids arrived. So after Cooler, the androids were the only threat Trunks' timeline was facing. Even with the other changes so far, the androids were too strong for him to defeat and too strong for Gohan to defeat. But they know nothing of what lies beyond the androids because now the timelines diverge. They await Cooler's arrival, but he doesn't show up right away. Trunks doesn't even know exactly when he showed up, just saying that it wasn't long after Mecha Frieza. But it takes a bit of time. Months pass and nothing. Vegeta's already a Super Saiyan, but he decides to leave Earth and go train further. Seeing Kakarot fight again made him realize that Kakarot's in a league of his own. He doesn't need to catch up with the form though, just in terms of power. So he leaves Earth for a little bit. And a few months after the arrival of Mecha Frieza, this is when we'll say Cooler comes to Earth. He decided to take a little bit of extra time. He knows the target that he's looking for, and he wants to be extra sure that he's strong enough to fight him. So he did a little bit of extra training. But let's take a brief little detour here. So, after the Cooler movie, things get really weird. Funny enough, Cooler is the easiest movie to fit into the story besides Wrath of the Dragon, maybe. It happens after Trunks comes to the past and when Goku's back on Earth. But weirdly enough, Goku doesn't use Super Saiyan until the very end of the movie, and seemingly he needs to be pushed into it, despite already having a grasp on the form at this point. And Gohan looks like his man upset and has his tail back. Vegeta's also not present in the movie, which fits with him being in space at this point. So as I've been saying so far, and I will be continuing to say throughout the story, the movies don't make sense as is, but we're going to make sense of them in our own ways. Goku goes on a camping trip with Gohan and Krillin, and Cooler crashes this camping trip. Out of nowhere, there's a surprise attack. The armored squadron goes for Goku and Gohan, and Goku easily fends them off, but then he's hit by a sneak attack from someone. While in base and off guard, Goku's hit by a powerful I-beam from Cooler, badly injuring him and incapacitating him for the time being. Gohan then gets ready to fight. And then a blast is launched from not too far away. Piccolo's also nearby. He's not part of the camping trip, but he was sparring with them recently. Krillin gets Goku to a safe place, and he needs to go procure a Senzu bean or two. Thankfully, Gohan's able to distract everyone while Goku gets away, as he then becomes a Super Saiyan himself, and Goku gets a glimpse of the true villain, Cooler. They already knew to expect him, and then Piccolo yells out to him too, calling Cooler by his name and saying that they're pretty prepared. Well, Cooler is surprised that they knew he'd come here, and they even know who he is, but clearly they're not as prepared as they should be, And yeah, because that was a sneak attack, but in terms of strength, they think they've got this. As a Super Saiyan, Gohan wipes out the armored squadron, with very little effort, as he and Piccolo then go in to attack Cooler together. Now Cooler is surprised to see another Super Saiyan here. He knows that there was one that defeated Frieza, but there are 3 other Super Saiyans: Vegeta, Gohan, and then Trunks, who came from the future and was the one to actually kill Frieza, as well as King Cold. Cooler fights these two in base for a bit. He's easily able to get Piccolo out of the fight, defeating him, and then it's a 1v1 between him and Gohan. Gohan's strength actually eclipses Cooler's at the moment, which really surprises him, but he's not going to be beaten by a kid. The battle continues on for a little bit longer, and Gohan gets a lot of good attacks in, but as Gohan prepares to finish it off, Cooler then grabs Gohan by his face, and he simply tells him,
"You should feel honored. You're the first, and soon to be the last, to witness my ultimate transformation."
Gohan tries to escape Cooler's grasp, but his arms grow larger, his body grows larger, and he grows a lot stronger. Cooler's final form isn't a surprise for them. While Trunks didn't have a lot of info on the Cooler fight, he does know that Cooler had one extra transformation. But what surprises Gohan is how strong he is. Cooler's transformation completes, and then he drops Gohan out of his hand and punts him high up into the air. Cooler then rockets up into the sky, too fast for Gohan to react, flying way above Gohan, and then launching down to the surface. He plants his foot right on Gohan, kicking him right into the earth. And with the single attack, he knocks Gohan completely unconscious, defeating him with ease, as Gohan's left planted in the ground. Nearby, Krillin and Goku sensed all of this. Goku's obviously really concerned, but thankfully Krillin was able to get another Senzu Bean for him, and he has one extra. From what they could tell, Piccolo seems to be out of the fight, but he's at least okay. Gohan, on the other hand, is probably a lot more injured, so Goku tells Krillin to get Gohan that other Senzu Bean and get him to safety. Goku also communicates with Piccolo to confirm this, and Piccolo's injured but not unconscious. He asks Goku if he needs help, but Goku says he doesn't. Honestly, he's not even sure if anyone can help him right now. Cooler does seem stronger than he expected. Goku powers up into Super Saiyan, placing 2 fingers on his forehead, and then teleporting right to Cooler. Cooler floats there, scanning the area, trying to find where Goku and Krillin went. But he doesn't need to look far, as Goku appears in front of him. And seeing Goku firsthand, he's just disappointed. Disappointed in Frieza, mainly. Goku asks if he means because Frieza lost, and he says partially because of that, but mainly because he got sloppy. He was supposed to eradicate all the Saiyans, but clearly he did a terrible job at that. He had Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz as part of his army. And Vegeta's still alive to this day. Meanwhile, that baby escaped from planet Vegeta. It must be Goku, isn't it? And Goku doesn't remember much of his past, but yeah, that was probably him. And look at this. 2 Saiyans lived. For all he knows, Frieza probably let other Saiyans escape too. He wouldn't be surprised if there were even more Saiyans out there. So that's what this is about. Getting rid of the Saiyans, just like his brother. And Cooler says not exactly. Of course, he's not really fond of Saiyans, but he's mainly trying to clean up Frieza's mess and make sure no one gets in his way as ruler of the universe. Look how it turned out for Frieza. He wasn't able to do that. He feels his spoiled brother had everything handed to him, while Cooler forged his own destiny through his own hard work. And without Frieza now, he has no competition either, besides the Super Saiyans. He says he wasn't born with the same great power that his brother had, but he doesn't need it. He worked for his power. And unlike Frieza, he's not complacent. He actually enjoys training and growing stronger. Goku says the two of them aren't so different. It's a shame Cooler's not a good guy. Cooler's glad to hear that. Even though Goku brought shame upon his family, he at least appreciates Goku's ideology as a warrior. But that doesn't change the fact that he needs to die. Each of them assumes a battle stance and vanishes from sight as they start clashing midair. Watching from far away is Krillin, who's now with Piccolo and is finding Gohan. But that worries them. Goku should be stronger than anyone. And on top of that, Cooler's definitely more durable. They've seen the types of attacks that Frieza could survive. Cooler's not showcasing his full power. He might be stronger than Goku. Maybe not by a lot, but enough to make a difference. And as the fight goes on, this becomes more apparent. Krillin's able to find Gohan and gives him a Senzu, getting Gohan back to full health. The issue is he only had these 2, so they don't have any more, and Piccolo's in pretty bad shape, so he's not going to be fighting. Cooler is slowly starting to overcome Goku's power, and Gohan says he needs to help. Goku told Krillin to get Gohan to safety, but he's not going to stop Gohan here. Gohan's stronger than him and Piccolo. It's not like they could stop him anyways. And maybe it would benefit Goku for him to help. Gohan says he could fight for himself and defend himself after all. He powers back up into Super Saiyan. Goku continues to fend off Cooler, but is slowly losing ground. And then Cooler is hit by a surprise attack from Gohan. He grew stronger from healing as well. But on top of that, his power with Goku should be enough to turn the tide of the battle, and Goku's glad to see him join here. It's a shame he can't beat Cooler alone, but they need to beat him nonetheless, no matter what it takes. The father-son duo starts to fight together, with Cooler getting completely overwhelmed. He can't believe it. Had he known there were multiple Super Saiyans, he would have taken far more time to prepare. It's a good thing Vegeta's not here either. Cooler at least admires their teamwork though. Perhaps if he had fought alongside Frieza, he wouldn't go out like this. But he's not going to accept his death like this. With all of his might, Cooler charges a supernova, throwing it at the two Saiyans. But simultaneously, they launch a father-son Kamehameha, effortlessly knocking Cooler's blast back, hitting it right into him, as Cooler's sent rocketing out into space, flying into the sun. And with this final attack, Goku and Gohan are victorious. Cooler's been defeated, or so it seems. So all of the upcoming movies are weird to fit in. Now, obviously this What If is about everything being canon, so you guys know that the Metal Cooler movie, the Android 13 movie, and the Broly movie are all going to happen, as well as plan to eradicate the Saiyans. This is where the timelines get really weird though. Metal Cooler happens after Dende becomes Guardian, and while Goku's still alive. So the only place that would fit in is during the 10 days before the Cell games, but Trunks isn't around in that movie and Gohan doesn't have Super Saiyan. Android 13 came out after the Metal Cooler film, but weirdly enough, it's stated to take place before Cell becomes perfect, though after Jiro's death, as well as 17 and 18 being activated and Goku recovering. This movie does not fit in the main timeline either. Broly also should occur during the 10-day wait too, as Trunks is present, Goku's alive, and Gohan has Super Saiyan. And then plan to eradicate the Saiyans happens after Broly, but it also should happen, you guessed it, during the 10 days before the Cell games. That seems like a really annoying 10 days, but anyways, as for Android 13, that seems to kind of happen in its own place, while the other three films happen between that 10-day wait. Of course, I know of the whole idea that these things take place in alternate timelines or whatever, which is why the contradictions exist, but we do want to piece everything together, so we need to figure out when these actually take place. Since I'm doing my own thing with the story and how everything fits in, I'm not strictly adhering to all that, I'm just explaining it to all of you so you know where they originally should fall. Just keep that in mind as we go forward with the next arc, because now we enter the Android and Cell saga, and it's going to be a really long arc. The time skip ends, Vegeta's back on Earth, and the androids arrive. At least, androids 19 and 20. Now thankfully, everything right now goes pretty much the same. Goku will still succumb to the heart virus, the encounter with Jiro in 19 goes normal, and then eventually Jiro escapes, activating 17 and 18, who then kill him and activate Android 16. A ton of other things did change beforehand, but right now, the only big change here is that Gohan has Super Saiyan already. None of the other movies have majorly affected how this would start. Trunks is surprised to see that the androids are stronger than his timeline, pretty much like normal. What they don't realize is that all hell is about to break loose. Dr. Gero has 2 other projects in store. It looks like he had a lot of backup plans, but they don't even know about it. So what has Dr. Gero been doing? With all these other movies going on, surely he has more data, and yeah, that's exactly what happened. So originally, Gero stops collecting data after the Saiyan saga, at least for the main androids, so the only extra thing he has data on is Garlic Jr., but that's for him personally. And he probably doesn't have data on Turles, but since he was on Earth at the time and saw the planet basically dying, I'm sure he He'd at least know something went on there, even if he didn't get great data from it. But as for his supercomputer, that was collecting a lot more data. The supercomputer has data from all the other fights. Turles, Wheelo, the other Garlic Jr. fight, Slug, Mecha Frieza and King Cold, and of course Cooler. It collected DNA from all those fights. But the supercomputer isn't just working on Cell. Bulma locates a decrepit time machine. They're not sure what it is. But Kami has sensed some monster lurking about for a while, and he also merges with Piccolo at this time. Piccolo's going to encounter whatever Kami sensed. The supercomputer has just completed its first project, unbeknownst to everyone. 16, 17, and 18 may have been failures in Jiro's eyes, but it looks like the stars aligned for Jiro. Piccolo first encounters Cell, and he's still stronger than him, and it causes Cell to run away, but something's really terrifying about him. Of course, he's terrifying as is, but he's got way more DNA than he should. Now, just because he has all the extra DNA doesn't mean he's going to be incredibly stronger. Probably a bit stronger, but not enough where he'd beat Piccolo. But Piccolo could feel the ki of so many others. That's because he has a few extra components. Garlic Jr.'s DNA, Turles' DNA, Lord Slug's DNA, and Cooler's DNA. Piccolo could sense the ki from all of these people, but there's also somebody else in there. On top of the other allies he could sense, he feels Gohan's ki too. And honestly, Gohan's probably the biggest addition here due to his potential. DNA was collected from Gohan because he became a Super Saiyan so early, so obviously that's a great opportunity. Add that on top of the fact that he has the DNA of Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, and King Cold. Dr. Wheelo didn't have any useful DNA to obtain, but Cell also notes that Jiro's drones found his old lab and stole all the data from that. So the knowledge of Cochin and Wheelo are part of him as well. Not that it really amounts to much though, thanks to Jiro. This Cell has way more variety in his techniques, and much more knowledge. He ends up escaping from Piccolo, but at least they now know about him and that he's going to absorb the other androids. Trunks and Krillin go back to Jiro's lab, trying to find the basement where Present Cell is. They need to at least destroy him, and while they're at it, maybe they could find some blueprints to see if they could do anything about the other androids. But as they get closer to the lab, they see 3 figures moving. Instantly they're pretty terrified and they hide, completely hiding their ki. They hope whoever those 3 people are don't notice them. And it's a little far away so they can't see, but the 3 figures don't really look too human. Now, one of them actually does look like a regular human. The other 2 definitely not. But even with how far away they are, they could still make out something on their clothing. A distinct, red-shaped ribbon. It couldn't be. 3 more androids? That makes no sense to Trunks. There's only 2 androids in his future. It's already weird enough that they had 19 and 20, as well as Android 16 here, but who are these 3? Their worst fears are realized. Androids 13, 14, and 15 are complete. Meaning, there are currently 7 androids on the loose. Did Trunks cause this by time traveling? The other 3 androids leave, and Krillin and Trunks swoop in, quickly going to the lab, trying to find anything they can. They find the supercomputer that created these 3 androids, and it looks to be working on Cell as well. They destroy Cell and find blueprints for the other androids. But they can't find any on those 3 because they were made by the supercomputer. There was no blueprints to begin with. That was all made automatically. But they know the names of them. That's really it, though. So are all 7 of these androids allies? Are they going to be working against each other in factions? Is one going to try and overpower them all? They have no clue. And as the androids go around Earth, there is one more mechanical menace in development. Cooler's remains float through space. He was almost completely destroyed, but there's pieces of him left. And those chunks of Cooler come into contact with something strange. With that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Trunks came back to the past to warn everybody about the androids, and Cooler showed up too. But things are about to get really messed up. We'll cover all that and more in this 4th part of What If Everything Was Canon. And no lie, this arc kind of scares me the most because this is going to be the most brain-dead, hectic story I'm ever going to write, because there's going to be so much going on at once. Like, of course I'm going to try to fit everything together, but my god dude, there's so much to fit. 13, 14, and 15 know the other androids and Cell are active. Meanwhile, 16, 17, and 18 and Cell don't know about 13, 14, and 15. All 7 androids obviously want to go after Goku, but Cell also has the primary targets of 17 and 18 first. Thing is, Goku has already been recovered and is on the lookout. Training in the time chamber begins with Vegeta and Trunks going in first. Piccolo considers going to fight 17 and 18 right now, but knowing about the other androids, thanks to Trunks and Krillin telling them, they stay up here. It's a little bit too dangerous down there because they don't know what they're going to encounter. Now, before destroying the lab completely, they did get some blueprints, so Bulma's working on a self-destruct remote for 17 and 18, but it's not like she could really find out anything else about the other androids. They're not sure if Cell could absorb 13, 14, or 15 to make up for 17 and 18. Of course, they're fully mechanical, so he can't absorb them just like Android 16, but they don't know this. The android groups have different ways that they're going about things. Cell, of course, is laying low. 13, 14, and 15 start terrorizing cities, while 17 and 18 just go around robbing stores, basically. Not killing anyone, just causing some mischief. But the 2 groups happen to come across each other. While 18's busy robbing a store of all its clothes, 17 hears some explosions outside, so 16 goes to check, and that's where they see 3 other androids. 14 notices 16, and the other 2 are pretty surprised. Of course, they know of the other androids. They're all from the same place. Everyone was made in Jiro's lab. Now, 16 doesn't see this as an immediate threat because his only target is Goku, and these are technically allies if anything. They're Red Ribbon androids. But 17's a little bit wary about this. He doesn't like Jiro in the first place. After all, he was the one to kill Jiro personally. The newer 3 androids have obedience problems. They weren't fully loyal to Jiro. Android 13, on the other hand, is fully focused on fulfilling Jiro's programming, even if it means betraying supposed allies. Since 13's the first project out of all the androids here, he considers himself their elder. Now, unfortunately, the supercomputer has been destroyed, but it did gather enough data to know that 17 and 18 were responsible for killing Jiro. So while 17 and 18 are already on guard, 13 on the other hand finds them rude by default, and thinks that they're enemies. He says they're clearly not going to get along, so why not just settle this now? 17 confidently accepts this. A 2v3 ensues. 16's only programmed to fight Goku, but eventually he decides to help out his 2 other allies. Now all 6 androids here should have infinite stamina. We know for a fact 16 through 18 have it, while 13 through 15 are a little bit more iffy, but some guides and promo materials say that they have it, so we're going to assume they do. And of course everybody else is watching from the lookout. It's pretty insane to see because they didn't expect a 3v3 android battle. They wonder where Cell is though. Piccolo's observing closely, trying to see if he could find him. As the fight begins, it's clear that 13 seems to be pretty powerful, but maybe they shouldn't have been so worried because the newer androids seem to be stronger. Especially without the help of the supercomputer, 13 and his group are going to be lacking. 16 is the most powerful of the androids, not just in his group but even over Android 13. And even 17 and 18 should be stronger than him too. 14 and 15 also fall pretty far behind. 17 effortlessly kills Android 14, and 18 kills Android 15. Android 16 then steps back. His help isn't really needed here. 13 is angered, but he doesn't back down. As 17 and 18 approach him, ready to finally kill him, he then smirks. The parts of androids 14 and 15 then float towards him. Unlike these 2 androids, he's got a really good trick up his sleeve, even if it means using the carcasses of his allies. 16 tells them to get back. Something's wrong. Android 13 then starts transforming, becoming Super Android 13. And now the tide of the battle completely turns. Android 16 then goes after him, but 13 effortlessly defeats him. And while the androids aren't producing any actual ki, they are making a pretty big racket, so Cell's able to eventually find them. He's watching from nearby, a little bit surprised to see another android here because he didn't know about Android 13. It looks like another unintended side effect of time traveling. But he might actually have to intervene soon because if Android 13 destroys either of the other two androids, Cell can't attain perfection. Meanwhile, those on the lookout are also thinking of intervening because they notice that Cell's nearby. They could risk it and wait for 13 to kill 17 or 18, which at this rate seems very likely, but they don't know if he's going to fully destroy them or not. And since Cell's nearby, once he strikes and absorbs either of them, they're screwed. Goku reluctantly decides that they should go down there. With the combined power of him and Piccolo, and even Gohan alongside them, they have a few options that might be able to hold off the other androids, or at the very least, kill 17 or 18. Their biggest objective is getting Cell away from those other two. If they could somehow get 13 and Cell to fight, then that's going to be even better. Piccolo says this is really risky, but they don't really have another choice. Gohan and Piccolo grab onto Goku, as he then teleports down to the surface, using Cell's key signature to actually teleport. Cell of course is caught by surprise, especially seeing Goku right there and facing Piccolo again. He's grown stronger though thanks to absorbing more people, so maybe he could take them on, but with 3 of them together, he's not so sure. They give him no time to think. The 3 of them immediately jump Cell, trying their best to kill him. Piccolo then yells out to 17 and 18. He tells them to get out of here. There's another android that's lurking, and he's trying to absorb them. They're a bit confused, especially because these people are their enemies. But after seeing Android 13 absorb 2 other androids, it's not really too outlandish to think of. And then they see that Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan are fighting some green guy together. 16's pretty lost too, but 13 actually does know about Cell because the supercomputer was able to keep up with everything happening up until the point where Trunks and Krillin destroyed it. So they know who Cell is, and that Cell is here. Plus, it's a fellow project of Jiro's. Of course he knows about it. 13 didn't exist in Cell's timeline, but Cell existed in 13's timeline. And then something unexpected happens. 13 tells Cell he wants to help him. You know, he has the directive to kill Goku, but the 2 of them could temporarily team up here. He'll help Cell get the other 2 androids to absorb, and then together they can kill Goku. Now, Cell doesn't really want to team up with somebody else, and he doesn't even know if he could trust 13, but for the time being, he accepts it, because once he actually attains perfection, or at least semi-perfection, he'll be more than strong enough to kill 13. So Cell lets out a huge burst of ki, knocking back the 3 fighters around him. Android 13 then grabs onto Android 18, flinging her as far away as he can. This way the other fighters don't get their hands on her, and she and 16 won't intervene. And then he gets a hold of Android 17, grasping him with both his hands, holding him out for Cell to take. 16 and 18 are too injured to help, but Cell rushes over to get him, with Goku, Piccolo, and Gohan trying to get closer. Cell's actually faster than him, but Goku teleports right to Cell, trying to fight him one-on-one. But Piccolo yells out not to get too close because Cell could easily drain his energy or kill Goku. Cell then lunges his tail out at Goku, but Goku narrowly avoids it. Although, the tail wasn't aiming for Goku. It stretches out even further, and then grabs Android 17. Cell then quickly launches a blast at Goku to knock him away, as he then starts powering up, becoming semi-perfect. 13 then looks around for Android 18, but then, somebody jumps onto him. As Cell's in the middle of transforming, 16 yells at 18 to get out of there, wrapping himself around Android 13, and then self-destructing. Goku quickly snatches up Gohan and Piccolo, realizing their plan didn't work here, but it was at least worth a shot. They teleport back up to the lookout, watching from above as Cell's transformation completes, then followed by Android 16 exploding, as the area around them gets glassed and leveled. Super 13 is actually injured by this explosion, but he could still fight. Cell also gets pretty injured from it too, but he regenerates pretty quickly and even grows from this. They just hope that Android 18 got out of there. It's a shame Goku can't just teleport to her and bring her up to the lookout, because otherwise they would do that. He's mad their plan didn't work, but Piccolo tells him it was worth it. He has a feeling that Cell and 13 aren't actually going to team up, and if they didn't intervene, Cell would have definitely gotten the other 2 androids anyways, because 13 wouldn't have completely destroyed them, especially because he actually knew about Cell. But Goku thinks it's kind of weird. They've been watching how the androids act, and Trunks described them as being ruthless in the future. But 17 and 18 don't seem that bad. Sure, they were going around destroying things and robbing stores, but they weren't outright killing people for no reason. 13's crew and Cell, on the other hand, kill people with no remorse. Hindsight is 20/20, but of course if they knew this, they would have tried to team up with 17 and 18, keeping them safe from the other androids. Both because they're not as bad, and they can't let Cell get them. 13 admires Cell's new form. It looks like the 2 of them are pretty similar, absorbing androids to get stronger. But he tells Cell not to get any crazy ideas. Cell can't absorb him, he's fully mechanical. Oh really? What a shame. But he's glad to have a new ally. After all, the 2 of them have the same objective, uphold Jiro's plans and kill Goku. At least, that's what Cell makes it seem like. Cell then asks 13 if he wants to test out his power. Cell loves fighting and he doesn't know if 13 gets the same joy from it, but why not have a little sparring match? 13's a little confused, but he goes for it. He kinda bit off more than he could chew. Cell seems stronger than he realized, so he wants to keep them happy. The 2 of them fly up into the air, going out into space. 13 would have never expected to fight out here, but considering he's fully mechanical, it makes for a better locale. He could survive up here and so could Cell. From the lookout, nobody's too sure what's going on because they can only sense Cell and they're too far away to see. They can observe the surface from the lookout, but not space. 13 and Piccolo do have a brief fight, and Cell actually was looking to test out his power here, but he also had another objective. He was going to kill Android 13 regardless. The fight out in space doesn't really go on for too long. At first, it seems like 13 and Semi-Perfect Cell are evenly matched, but Semi-Perfect Cell then showcases his true power. 13 realizes how badly he screwed up. He was naive to think that Cell would team up with him, but Cell tells him not to worry too much about it. Even if he didn't team up with him, Cell would have found some way to absorb 17 and 18, and he still would have killed 13 regardless. This way, 13 at least gets to fight a little longer and go out with more dignity. From the lookout, they're looking up into space where Cell's fighting. They could just sense his power and that's it. And then, they see a massive explosion out in space, as Cell's power then returns to Earth. It looks like he won that battle. And now he's on the search for Android 18. He had to make that fight really quick because he didn't want 18 to get too far. Thankfully, around the same time, Vegeta and Trunks exit the time chamber, with Goku and Gohan going in next. Cell gets closer and closer to Android 18, as Trunks and Vegeta find him first. Now, it's pretty hard to find Android 18 without a key signature, but she couldn't have gotten that far. Plus, she's trying to lay low, and Cell tries to get her out the same way he did before, by blowing up islands individually. Though now he has to face Vegeta, and the outcome of this fight with Vegeta goes pretty much the same way it did normally. Vegeta fights him, gets a little bit too cocky, Trunks tries to intervene, and Cell appeals to Vegeta. Krillin gets nearby with the remote, and he tries to find Android 18 as well. Again, a lot of this scene actually goes pretty much similar to normal. 13 actually served as a really good distraction, and no one could find her that easily, so one thing about Goku intervening is that it makes it harder for Cell to find 18, but it doesn't really help too much because Cell eventually is the first one to spot her, even before Krillin could find her. Immediately, he goes to absorb Android 18, with Trunks trying to stop him, and Vegeta stopping Trunks. Krillin notices at the last second, and reluctantly he presses the button on the remote. Cell's already midway through absorbing her, but then her bomb detonates. Cell explodes, as Android 18 explodes too. Krillin looks a bit surprised, and Trunks looks a bit relieved too, although Vegeta's skeptical. Krillin thinks he actually did it. He didn't think that bomb would actually kill Cell, but considering that Android 18 was pretty much a part of Cell at that point, the bomb exploded inside of him. But Krillin was too late. First of all, Cell could survive that explosion. He regenerates pretty quickly. He was blown to pieces, but not really small ones. He wasn't fully destroyed. As the parts of Cell reform, they then changed to something else. Now, perfect. Android 18's parts still became a part of him. Even though she blew up, the parts were already inside of Cell. She died for nothing, and Cell laughs at this. Vegeta, Trunks, and Krillin try and fight him now, but nothing works, and this eventually leads to Cell announcing the Cell Games. Meanwhile, Gohan and Goku train in the time chamber, growing even further. Now, Gohan already has Super Saiyan at this point in the story. He got it a lot earlier on, so he has a way bigger head start than normal. So it only takes a few months for them to master Super Saiyan, and a few months after that, Gohan gets something else. For the first time, he ascends Super Saiyan, going into what he calls Super Saiyan 2. This training is actually more beneficial for Goku too, because he doesn't have to spend time getting Gohan to unlock Super Saiyan in the first place. He's got a stronger training partner from the get-go, and they also get right down to business. They don't have to wait for Gohan to catch up. But then on top of that, Gohan ascending Super Saiyan makes him an even better training partner for Goku. Initially, the two of them only spent 9 months in the time chamber, but in this scenario they spend even less time in there. They only train for 6 months. They don't need to go any further. Goku says there's no point torturing themselves when they've already gotten great gains. And even though they spent less time training, it's been more effective training. Goku's already mastered Super Saiyan, and he's at the point where he's supposed to be in terms of strength, maybe a little bit above that. Gohan, on the other hand, is stronger than normal, thanks to having Super Saiyan 2 earlier. Everyone's amazed to see Gohan's new power when they exit the time chamber, and Goku and Gohan learn of what happened, ready to battle at the Cell Games. It's great to hear that they have 10 days. Goku plans on using that time to rest. It should be a really peaceful time period, right? I mean, they've dealt with all the other androids, so who could they possibly fight in these 10 days? No one, right? Wrong. Goku's first order of business is to get a new guardian, so he teleports over to New Namek with some help from King Kai. And they're all really happy to see Goku, with Dende of course becoming Earth's new guardian. But just as Goku gets ready to leave with Dende, something really weird happens. The entirety of planet Namek starts shaking. Goku wonders what's going on, and he jumps up into the air. Floating above the surface, he can now see far over the horizon, and it looks like on the other side of the planet, there's a giant metallic mass that's attached to the planet. He's never seen anything like this. What he doesn't realize is that commandeering that giant mass of metal is the remains of Cooler. He could feel Goku's presence on the planet. Brilliant. What perfect timing. Unsure of what's about to happen, Goku first teleports Dende to Earth, and just to keep everyone safe, All the Namekians around him teleport to Earth too. The lookout is pretty crowded right now because it has all the people waiting for the Cell games and now all the Namekians that Goku found. Of course, he couldn't get every Namekian off the planet, but this is enough. Dende starts work on a brand new Shenron, as Goku then asks everybody for help. He's not sure what's about to happen on Namek, but they need to help save the planet once again. Piccolo's now in the time chamber, and Vegeta and Trunks are about to go back in to try and surpass Goku, but they decide to join along with this. Gohan's actually the strongest of them right now, and they could use his help, but Trunks says it might be better if Gohan stays on this planet. Just in case Cell actually doesn't keep his word, they need someone really strong here to fight against him, and Gohan's their best bet. Even though Piccolo still is here, they're not sure how strong he'll be when he exits the time chamber. So, Gohan stays back, as Vegeta and Trunks join Goku to go to planet Namek, as the Big Getty Star and Metal Cooler await them. With that, we'll leave off here for now. What do you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you... A bunch of androids showed up, and now Cell is perfect. Oh yeah, and now we're finally on the Broly episode. Great. We'll cover all that and more in this 5th part of What If Everything Was Canon. Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Krillin all go to Namek. The first thing they encounter is some weird metallic guards. They fight the robots, and it takes a little bit of effort to actually kill them, but eventually they succeed. But they also learn of the leader of the Cyclopean guards, Cooler, a name that's all too familiar to everyone there. The true threat shows himself. Metal Cooler appears. They can't believe he's still alive, but Cooler explains. He was defeated and pretty badly injured by Goku, but the Big Getty Star found him, and it allowed him to cheat death, and now he's back, better than ever. He's surprised to see Goku already in Super Saiyan. What, did the guards give him that much trouble? And Goku says that's not what happened. He's been in Super Saiyan this entire time. He's improved it completely. He could be in it without any effort at all. So, even if Cooler's stronger, it's not going to be a problem. Very well then. Metal Cooler beckons Goku as the two of them begin fighting. And it's a pretty short-lived battle. It's not exactly really easy for Goku because Cooler definitely has grown stronger, but it's not too much of an issue. It's enough that he could take it on alone, and it only takes a minute or so. Goku defeats the Metal Cooler, causing him to split up into pieces. But then, the pieces reconnect each other. They regenerate. The data from the Big Getty Star reaches him too. He's been improved further. Metal Cooler's ready to fight again, and he's better than before. He's adapted to this. He fights Goku again, and this time, the two of them are dead even. And Goku can't believe it. How'd he grow so strong just from being defeated? Once more, Goku is able to defeat him by pushing himself to his limits, but it's really tough this time. The same thing happens again. So, next, Trunks joins in with him, and the two of them completely destroy Metal Cooler together, making sure there's no pieces of him left to regenerate from. But it doesn't matter. Another Metal Cooler then appears, replacing the last one. This results in a 4v1. Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks all in Super Saiyan, with Krillin there too. They defeat the Metal Cooler once more and completely destroy him, getting rid of every little bit of him just to make sure that they don't forget anything. But still, another appears, and this one adapts further. He decides he needs a little bit more power, and he takes on a new form. Taking on a form that looks like Final Form Cooler, although, of course, it's fully made of metal this time. This guy really won't die, will he? The four of them take on Metal Final Form Cooler together, but it doesn't work. Well, maybe they need to go for whatever that big structure over there is. Clearly they won't win by just destroying him over and over again. But that's easier said than done, because over the horizon, they see a couple more Coolers appear, and then even more. There's an entire army of them. The Big Getty Star decided that they'd probably need about 1,000 Coolers for this. The Metal Coolers all laugh in unison, as the four of them desperately power up, trying to fight this army together. They realize that this is probably it for them. There's no way they could win here, but they're not going to die without a fight. They expend all of their energy, fighting as many of the Coolers as possible, but it's not enough. They're all captured and taken directly to the core of the Big Getty Star. Krillin's the first to awaken, looking around him, seeing that everyone is restrained by wires hung up in the middle of some weird structure. He tries making a Kienzan to cut the wires, but it doesn't work. When he tries to create it, his energy is just sapped, and then he feels even more of his energy drained. This also wakes up the others. Everyone's conscious. They come face to face with the Metal Cooler core. He's going to use them as living batteries, draining all their energy to empower himself even further. As he starts draining them, Vegeta decides that he's going to power up to his maximum just to try and escape. He then bulks up considerably, not just going into grade 2, but grade 3. And Trunks does the same, completely stressing themselves and pumping Cooler full of energy. This actually overloads him, and Vegeta kind of laughs at this. He didn't think that this bulky form would ever be useful in battle, but clearly it is here. The core is overloaded with Vegeta and Trunks escaping, and Goku powers up doing the same thing, and then he goes to free Krillin. Goku's pretty surprised too, because he has that bulky form, but he never thought it would come in handy. The Metal Cooler core then takes on a battle form, ready to actually fight everyone here. And now the final battle commences. Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Krillin all power up to their maximum, fighting the core together. And here, they think they could actually win. This is different than all the Metal Cooler clones. This is the core of the entire thing. If they could destroy him, they win. They coalesce all of their power, and with a combined attack, they destroy the core. The entirety of the Big Getty Star collapses, and now, once more, Namek is safe. Back on Earth, Gohan encounters Tao just like he did in the filler and messes with him like normal. Not too much would change about that. Goku tries to teleport back to Earth, but it's pretty tough from here. He could go to King Kai, but Piccolo's probably still in the time chamber so he can't sense him, and Gohan's way too relaxed right now, so it's kind of hard to sense his ki. But as Goku's focusing, he does find another key signature on Earth that he could use. This is probably going to be the fastest way. Cell is waiting at the Cell Games arena, and then, out of nowhere, a beat-up Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Krillin all show up, teleporting in from Kami knows where. Cell's a bit confused as to why they're here, and it looks like they've been training. They look very worn out. What, are they stressing themselves preparing for the Cell Games? And Goku says no, that's not actually it. They just got out of a battle with someone. Wait, what? Who gave them that much trouble? Don't tell him it's another android. Well, not exactly, but Goku says that there was another mechanical threat. It was Cooler. He came back, and this time he was completely mechanical. He had a bunch of clones, and he tried to absorb all of Namek. Okay, Cell doesn't really understand that, and he didn't expect that to happen either, but he's more surprised that Cooler was still alive. Goku says he was too. He thought he completely destroyed him, but clearly not. And Goku says he teleported here just because Cell was the only key signature he could find, at least from that far out in space. But even though Gohan's power is pretty laid back right now, Cell can sense it, and he gets that Goku probably couldn't sense it from that far, but part of him thinks that Goku just wanted to teleport to Cell just to tell him what's been going on, and not because that was his only option. Well, Goku waves goodbye and says he'll see him later, teleporting the rest of them up to the lookout. Okay, well, he says he'll see them in a few days. And it hasn't been that long since he announced the Cell Games. It's barely been a day. And he's already pretty bored. A little bit jealous that they got to have some fun by fighting Cooler. He would have loved to do that, but he doesn't let it get to him. He waits here, not worried in the slightest. Surely there won't be any other big events before the Cell Games. Too bad he doesn't realize that this is the Broly episode. About 2 days later, everyone's relaxing. This is probably the best thing to do before the Cell Games. And then, a spaceship appears. Great. Another threat already? Well, it's not particularly a threat. At least, that's what it doesn't present itself as. A man steps off the ship. A Saiyan. Vegeta's astonished to see that there's another one out there. The man introduces himself as Paragus and explains the issue. Pretty much the same exact beginning to Movie 8 like normal. Okay, wait a second. So, since we're making everything canon here, how am I going to implement 2 Brolys into the story? Well, I could have just done one and forgotten the other, but I don't like that idea. I could have made them twins. That kind of feels like an easy cop-out here. I want to keep them both separate and keep their unique traits. But they still have to coexist somehow, and I think I have a way. Anyways, the group goes to New Planet Vegeta. Everything with this movie starts out pretty much the same exact as normal. Broly is angered by seeing Kakarot because he's reminded by the day he was exiled, and Paragus has the same exact plan to kill everyone here. They realize something's kind of off with Broly, and eventually, it leads to a fight. As Broly fully powers up, revealing that the entire time, he was the legendary Super Saiyan. Now, the group is better equipped this time because they're basically fresh off of 2 other battles, the androids and Metal Cooler. But also, Gohan has Super Saiyan 2 already, so the group is a little stronger than normal, but that might not be enough to turn the tides. Because Broly is stupidly powerful. They didn't know a Saiyan's power could go this high, and that basically leaves Vegeta in the same position as normal, completely stunned by what he's seeing. He thinks it's hopeless. The legendary Super Saiyan's gonna kill them. But as Vegeta is left stunned, Vegeta asks Paragus who he really is and what his true plans are. Well, Paragus wanted them to die on this planet, and he didn't think Broly would become completely unrestrained, but he explains a little bit more. Following Broly's birth, King Vegeta was erratic. He already dealt with another strong Saiyan, having exiled him, and this time, he wanted to make sure Broly died. Paragus heard of that last Saiyan being exiled, and he tried to keep Broly's power under wraps, but it didn't work. Of course, with power like that, it's really hard to keep restrained. In the final days of his planet, King Vegeta grew ever more desperate. He's heard rumors about Frieza, spread by some low-class Saiyan who thought that Frieza was going to destroy the planet. And Vegeta kind of believed them because Frieza didn't like the Saiyans. That was really easy to tell. And he randomly gave out an order to have all the Saiyans come back to planet Vegeta at one point. Knowing that Frieza would be here eventually, King Vegeta didn't want to anger him at all. So, knowing about that other child, and after what happened with the last child, he didn't want any loose ends, and he wanted to walk on eggshells around Frieza. He stabbed Broly, and attempted to kill Paragus as well. But, just as planet Vegeta was destroyed, the 2 of them escaped. But Vegeta's kind of confused. What other Saiyan did his father send away? Paragus grins. They've been searching for so long. He's been looking for his relative, and his son, Broly. Wait, Broly? Why is he saying that like there's another one? Because there is. The Broly that they're currently fighting, he was born around the time of planet Vegeta's destruction. Now, I know the Dragon Ball Minus stuff kind of messes up Goku's birth timeline, but I've got a pretty easy fix. All you need to do is ignore the Dragon Ball Minus birth date, which says Goku was born in age 734, but let's go with the original date of age 737. The same year Goku was born originally, and the same year that Broly's supposed to be born. And the Granola Arc flashbacks don't really have specific time frames, so that doesn't mess up anything with Bardock's story in that part either. In worst case, the only thing we need to do to fix that is slightly move ahead the parts where Bardock fought Gas. In the grand scheme of the story, the birth dates aren't really a big deal, but I figured I'd explain that here because I know there would be that discrepancy if I didn't explain.
No, what?
It. Anyways, in age 732, around the same time that Vegeta himself was born, there was another strong child born on planet Vegeta. The reason Paragus knows about this is because they're somewhat related. The other child's name is also Broly, and his father's name Aspar. Paragus and Aspar, who both are obviously named after asparagus, are somewhat distant cousins. Going back in their lineage is a common ancestor named Broly, who is revered in their family as a great warrior, hence why these two kids have the same name. This way, both of them can be named Broly. I feel that the two cousins would know each other, and I guess their sons would have last names that work in a Viking kind of way just to differentiate them. So Z Broly is Broly Paragus' son, and Super Broly is Broly Aspar's son. That way there's not going to be many major changes, all I had to do was change the name of Super Paragus. Anyways, that other Broly story went pretty much like normal. He got sent to planet Vampa by Vegeta. Paragus laughs. His cousin is out there somewhere. He hopes that Aspar is just as hard to kill as he is. No doubt he has the same ideas in mind, and maybe another legendary Super Saiyan along his side. He just hopes that other Broly is tamed too. Everybody fights together against Broly. Vegeta eventually joins in too, and Gohan's already using Super Saiyan 2, but somehow this guy is far too strong. Even fighting everyone together, he's barely even breaking a sweat. He even kills Paragus at some point who tries to escape. And that's not the only relative he plans to kill. Broly is going to find his other relatives. There can only be one devil like him. The other Broly will die by his hands. He says this laughing maniacally as he crushes Paragus' space pod. Broly continues facing the Z-Fighters with no issue. And even though Gohan shows some exceptional power and does push Broly a bit, Broly's able to defeat him too. At the end of the battle, Goku's barely able to stand. He thinks there's no way to win, but he'll make a way to win. Fueled purely by willpower, he demands more strength. He needs more. He tries fighting Broly and then his friends lend him power. But it's not enough. He demands even more. All the warriors on the planet lend their energy to Goku. He absorbs it right into him. Empowered, having strength way beyond normal. Even Broly's taken aback. For that brief moment, Broly feels a slight sense of fear as Kakarot fights back. And, as Goku charges this strength, he ascends beyond his normal limits. Not just in Super Saiyan. His aura gains sparks of electricity around it. His hair stands up more than normal. It's almost like Gohan's ascended Super Saiyan. For this brief period of time, Goku awakens Super Saiyan 2, punching clean through Broly, channeling all the energy that he's gathered into him. As Broly's defeated with everyone escaping the planet as it's completely destroyed. But this won't be the last they see of Broly. Back on Earth, Cell is waiting, and he could sense everything going on out in space. How could he not? I mean, look at how strong everyone there is. And he can't believe it. There was really another big battle. He's growing pretty impatient. And then everyone teleports back to the Cell games. And it's a bunch of people too, because everyone on the planet that's still around gets aboard a ship, and Goku teleports them all to Earth. Cell's even more surprised than last time because he has no clue what this is. Who could they have possibly fought out there? Well, Goku thanks Cell for acting as a beacon again, even though he really had no choice in the matter. But Goku explains that he fought another Saiyan. This guy was the legendary Super Saiyan, which he has no clue what that is, but apparently it's stronger than a regular Super Saiyan. So that was the power of that guy he was sensing. Cell was pretty intrigued by it. He almost went out there to fight himself, but he doesn't know instant transmission just yet. After seeing Goku use it a few times, maybe he can copy it, but he would have loved to fight whoever that guy is because it seems like they had a lot of fun. Cell once again says that he'll see them in a few days as Goku teleports away. And now Cell's a little bit curious. How strong are the Z fighters right now? Because he's a little bit worried. Maybe he will be defeated by them, but he's going to stick to his word and have the Cell games on the same day that he said. But surely there isn't anything else that'll happen in the meantime, right? That has to have been the last fight. Well, no it isn't. Yep, the Cell saga still isn't done yet. The Cell games are still a few days away, but we have more to cover. With that, we'll leave off here for now. What did you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Goku and friends fight Cooler, now revived as Metal Cooler. But also, they faced another Saiyan, Broly. Surely, nothing else is going to happen during these few days before the Cell games though, right? We'll cover all that and more in the 6th part of What If Everything Was Canon. Only 3 days remain until the Cell games. Cell patiently awaits in the arena, fighting off random troops from the Earth's military, and that's pretty much it. But one day, he sees someone floating above the arena. As he focuses, he recognizes who it is. The man descends from the sky. It's Android 13? But how is he back? Cell thinks he's seeing a ghost, and, in a way, he is. Long ago, a tough scientist survived extinction. He's been working since then to get his revenge on the Saiyans, and now, with devices planted on Earth, he has a plan. This man's name is Dr. Lychee, and his plan to eradicate the Saiyans is now in motion. Yes, plan to eradicate the Saiyans also happened during these 10 days here. It doesn't take too long before he's found out though. Our group of heroes finds out about the plan to use the Destron gas to destroy all life on Earth, and all they need to do is go destroy the machines. Simple enough. They just have to fight whoever's protecting them. And they seem to be pretty weak warriors, at least at first. They destroy most of the machines, but once they get to the final ones, a few other warriors show up to attack. And these ones look very familiar. These aren't just random soldiers that Dr. Lychee has. Dr. Wheelo, although not in Turles' body. Then the actual Turles, Lord Slug, Frieza, and Cooler, in his regular form, not Metal Cooler. They're glad Broly didn't show up. It's only been a few days after all. So whoever's doing this surely didn't have the time. But it also seems like these are just dead villains because Garlic Jr. isn't here. And little do they know that another reason Broly's not here is because he's not actually dead. Spoiler alert, but you probably knew that Broly was going to survive this. These are all people who have hatred against the Saiyans. Wheelo's there for the same reason Turles and Slug are there, while Frieza and Cooler are pretty obvious because they just hate the Saiyans. As they continue fighting these warriors, they just keep regenerating, and nobody knows why. King Kai's eventually able to chime in and help. It's funny because in the original story, all King Kai says is that these guys are ghost warriors. They're not real. That's enough for everyone to kill them, so that's what happens here. And once they're defeated, they can destroy the Destron gas machines. Wheelo, Turles, Slug, and Cooler are eliminated. As Trunks then faces Frieza, Goku teleports away, over to where Cell is. He can sense Cell fighting and assumes that there's another villain fighting him, and there is. It's Android 13 with 14 and 15 also there. You might think that they can't be revived because they're completely artificial life forms, but Android 13 actually did show up as a ghost warrior in Dragon Ball Heroes, so apparently it's possible. Anyways, they do of course have hatred towards Goku, but these three specifically also have hatred towards Cell for what he did. And, in a way, Cell is partially a Saiyan, so this fuels Dr. Lychee's hatred towards the Saiyans too. They're gonna kill Cell first, then go after the other Saiyans, and then Goku explains how to defeat them. Thing is, he killed Android 13, 14, and 15 altogether, and right now they're separate, but Cell doesn't really question this. He's a little bit confused as to what's going on because they keep regenerating, but if this is what Goku says, he'll do it. It's not too big of a challenge. Cell destroys 14 and 15, and then 13 transforms into Super 13. Perfect. Cell then grabs him, dragging him out into space, and having the same fight that he had before, although this time 13 seems a little stronger. Not too big of an issue though, because Cell is a lot stronger too. Goku watches from the surface of the planet as Cell destroys Android 13 again. And he descends back down, cracking his neck and saying that was a pretty fun workout. So, what actually was that? Goku begins to explain what's going on, and honestly, he's not too sure himself, but King Kai's helping them out. And it looks like they've been able to locate the Dark Planet. They'll get more answers once they go there and encounter whoever this originated from. Cell is pretty annoyed with all this though. Really? More people are attacking Earth? He wants to kill everyone here. Who do these villains think they are? Cell says Goku's not leaving him behind this time. I'll join you on this journey. What? Really? Cell is bored waiting here while they go into these fights. This should be a lot of fun for me. A good opportunity to flex my perfection. Goku says they can't really trust Cell just yet. And Cell says he's kept his word about the Cell games. And if they need to fight him, what's the harm? They're gonna fight him anyways. Not to mention, wouldn't this be a better way to encounter Cell too? Like if Cell actually did end up betraying them or anything, they could all fight him together at once instead of 1v1s like a tournament setting. Goku has nothing to lose. And he thinks about it for a second. Yeah, Cell is actually kind of right here. So he places a hand on Cell's shoulder and teleports back to everyone. Immediately they're on guard, terrified to see that Cell's with them, and they're wondering why Goku brought him, but Goku explains. They're reluctant, but Cell is right, they have nothing to lose. And he seems pretty genuine about wanting to fight whoever this villain is because they know Cell loves a good fight. Trunks isn't really fond of the idea though, but this is a more pressing matter. Try anything stupid and you're dead. No need to worry, Trunks. For today, you're not my enemy. They all go to the Dark Planet and locate Dr. Lychee. He goes on his monologue explaining who he is and his plan. Glad to see a bunch of Super Saiyans here, the same people he wants to kill. His machine Hachiyak has been absorbing all the hate, using that to grow and create strong fighters. And as he's explaining all this, Cell lifts up a hand, launching a blast at Lychee and eradicating him. Lychee then revives, also being revealed to be a ghost warrior. Enough of this! Vegeta launches his own blast, completely overcoming Lychee's regeneration and killing the Doctor. And this does have a side effect, awakening Hachiyak, causing him to become autonomous as he goes after the rest of the group. This is insane. They've never seen something with such power. Even Cell's taken aback. Goku's worried. This guy might even be tougher than Broly. And Cell's a little bit bummed out to not be compared to this guy. Was that Broly warrior truly that much of a threat? Hachiyak starts fighting everyone, and Gohan obviously has Super Saiyan 2 here, and Goku even taps into it once more, even though he only just got it a few days ago. Plus they have Cell at their side, so this group is a lot stronger than normal, but Hachiyak is still too tough to fight, mainly because they don't know his weakness right away. Cell even tries to use this as an opportunity to showcase his power, and this is the first time they see Cell going all out, which is good. They let him do that for a bit just to gauge his power. And they see him pulling out a bunch of techniques from all the other people they fought. Like, they see him launch Turles' Kill Driver, or the Darkness Twin Star from Lord Slug. Hachiyak even launches one of his blasts at Cell at one point, and on a whim, he tries something out. He opens the dead zone in front of him, catching the beam as it flies through it. Garlic Jr. still is alive in there, and he's not expecting this. He's pretty terrified when he sees the dead zone open for a brief moment, only for a huge blast to fly through, and then the dead zone closes right after. And the blast hits him too, completely destroying him only for him to be regenerated again, realizing that the dead zone's closed and he's still trapped in here. Someone's messing around with him. He could have used that as a chance to escape. Oh yeah, they forgot Cell had all the abilities of those other people too. Thankfully, the immortality of Garlic Jr. isn't genetic, otherwise Cell would be a much bigger issue. And Hachiyak is the bigger issue at the moment if anything. He's too much to fight. But Goku eventually discovers his weakness. If they wait 15 seconds, when he attacks, they could then strike back. That's when he's defenseless, and when they have an opening to kill him. Cell says he's going to try and buy them some time. Hachiyak is about to launch another blast, so he then goes into fighting. An artificial life form made for revenge. Hachiak's just a cheap copy of him. Then, he faces the full brunt of one of his blasts, and he doesn't dodge it, but Cell isn't concerned. He smirks as the blast engulfs him, and it looks like he's pretty much destroyed. There's a few small bits of Cell left, but about 99% of it is gone. But that did give everyone else an opening, letting them take up a formation and start charging their own attacks. But did Cell really just die like that? Anyways, they count down from 15 and get ready to launch their own counterattacks. Another fighter materializes next to them. It's Cell, a little bit stronger than before, and he says he's not going to go down that easily. He wasn't fully destroyed, and he gives thanks to Piccolo for his regeneration. They all fire, with Cell even joining too. Hachiyak launches his own blast, as theirs clashes with it. But, with the overwhelming power that they have all together, it completely engulfs his blast, destroying Dr. Lychee's greatest project, and causing the planet to explode around them too. Goku's able to grab on Gohan, Trunks, and Vegeta, and he tries to get Piccolo, but then Cell yells out for them to go ahead. Goku teleports back with the people he grabbed, and then Cell appears on the planet too, alongside Piccolo. Piccolo's pretty confused because did Cell just use instant transmission? Well, yeah. After seeing Goku use it so much, he'd figured out how to copy it for himself. Piccolo should be thankful that Cell saved him. He could have just left him there. So, it looks like that's that. Cell still plans to kill them though. He reminds them, he's not an ally, so don't get the wrong idea. The Cell games are only 3 days away, and he still expects to see them there when that happens. He returns to his arena, stronger than before, also knowing the rest of the group is stronger than before too. Vegeta just thinks this whole thing is weird, and Trunks is mainly surprised Cell kept his word, and even saved Piccolo in the process. Piccolo kinda hates the whole idea. Even though the planet exploded right between them, they all know Goku could have easily teleported to get him, and he planned to do that. Cell saving him wasn't necessary. He just did it to annoy them, didn't he? So, you might think that since Goku and everyone defeated all these villains, they're stronger than Cell by this point, and yeah, in a way they are, because the way these stories went, at least in this scenario, they did grow stronger. Particularly Goku and Gohan, because they never had Super Saiyan 2 throughout these stories. Gohan got it earlier on before these even took place, and Goku got it against Broly, now able to use it whenever he wants. Weirdly enough, in Toei's messed up version of the story, all of this actually did happen before Cell, so yes, these fighters got stronger just somehow. I don't know how, but they did. And then somehow, Cell is much stronger than everyone here pretty much. So it's all really weird when you think about it. But of course we're doing our own thing here too, so I'm trying to make the power scaling make more sense. And I'm still able to make Cell stronger than them by doing this. First of all, Cell does have the different DNA in him, which does make him marginally stronger. But the main thing is, after taking place in the fight with Hachiyak, he did gain some experience there, plus he got a nice little boost in power when Hachiyak basically destroyed part of him. When he got hit by that attack, it was stronger than that instant transmission Kamehameha he got, but not as strong as a boost he got when he blew himself up. Still though, that's kind of what I'm using to account for this power increase here. But also, what's going to happen with Cell here? Now, I was really debating how Cell would take a part in the story, because we could go ahead with the Cell games. But Cell had a completely different experience here too, and he's starting to see that there's a lot more strong warriors out there than he knew about before. Of course, all these other people have been defeated, but Cell now knows that it's not just on Earth that these people exist. Like, he knew about Namekians and Frieza's clan, of course, but it looks like they continuously get surprised with all these new fighters. And Cell saw the strength of everyone else around him. If they all teamed up, they could probably beat him, even with his new power boost. Individually, he should be fine, especially with that boost, but he wants to grow more. Maybe he shouldn't do the Cell games right now. Not to mention, after asking Goku about that Broly guy, he learned that there's actually another Broly out there too, so that interests him. So, the Cell games arrive, and when everyone gets to the arena, they see Mr. Satan waiting there. But otherwise it's empty. Cell's gone. Goku's not too surprised, but he wonders where he went. And more importantly, when is he going to return? Surely the Cell games will happen eventually, and Cell does have that as a plan. Now, he doesn't want to go against his word and cancel the Cell games. He's just postponing them, indefinitely. Either way, they're going to see him at some point. And don't get the wrong idea. Cell's not a good guy right now. He teamed up with them for one fight, and he's just kind of postponing things while he figures out what he wants to do. But there is another tournament starting soon, especially because Mr. Satan didn't get his time to shine here at the Cell games. He's really excited about the Intergalactic Tournament, and he invites everyone here to join it. So this tournament begins, and it's a pretty fun spectacle. It allows the fighters to test their power, and even Trunks gets to join in before returning home. And the tournament concludes. There's no one that crashes it. Bojack should be popping up here, but he doesn't. Whoa, wait a second. I'm supposed to include everything in the story, right? And yeah, I'm not saying Bojack's not part of the story, it's just that he's not going to be freed right now. Yes, he does exist here, and he might show up eventually, but him being freed from his seal required King Kai to die, and King Kai didn't die here. He's very alive. And honestly, even if I had the Cell games happen at the same time they did, I also think it would have been easier to stop Cell, and King Kai's planet wouldn't have blown up in the first place, so either way, I wasn't going to include Bojack right now. Though, with the threat of Cell still out there, as well as some other fighters, who knows what's next. And Bojack definitely will show up at some point. And after a hectic few weeks here, Trunks finally returns home, a lot stronger than before, defeating all the androids and saving his timeline. But what's going to happen next in the main timeline, especially because Goku actually survived all of this, and we have some more villains showing up soon? Well, I think it's good to leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. We finally got to the end of the Cell saga, but the Cell game didn't even happen. Cell is out there, and nobody knows what he's up to. What comes next? We'll cover all that and more in the 7th part of What If Everything Was Canon. There's some years of peace following the Cell saga, thankfully, because there was just a bunch of stuff back to back, and Goten is born during this time too. And in case it wasn't clear before, Trunks was already born in this timeline as well. Gohan ends up going back to school, but he does keep up with his training because Goku's alive. It's a little bit tough to balance his schedule out, but I think he'd figure out a way. He also still ends up meeting Videl and becoming the Great Saiyaman. Her dad is still recognized as a hero, so she becomes a hero as well. Even though nobody actually saw Mr. Satan kill Cell, he kind of framed it as such. Cell left pretty much right after Mr. Satan showed up, so he basically said that he scared the guy off. And for the time being, things are pretty laid back. But one day, Goten and Trunks go searching for the Dragon Balls alongside Videl. Amidst their search, they end up in a village, and they learn of some monster that's lurking nearby, and they accidentally end up awakening it. And this monster isn't what they expect. It's a person, a Saiyan. It's Broly. Obviously, none of these three know who Broly is, so Goten and Trunks briefly fight him, but Broly proves to be too much. Thankfully, help is on the way. Gohan shows up first. And thanks to his extra training, he's determined to beat Broly. He feels like he's strong enough for this, but he's not entirely sure because of how strong Broly was last time. Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2, and then Broly ends up transforming into the legendary Super Saiyan. And Gohan's doing pretty well, but Broly is stronger than he expected. He's really surprised, because Gohan's grown a bunch during this time, but somehow, someway, Broly is keeping up. But they're about dead even right now. and Gohan thinks he could handle this. In worst case, he's not the only fighter here. But then something strange happens. Broly's power spikes. At first, Gohan assumes that maybe he's gone Super Saiyan 2 or something, or at least the legendary equivalent of that, but no, he didn't transform. He powers up, and then Gohan notices something on his forehead glowing. And as the glow fades, a small mark is left behind. The letter M appears on his forehead. Gohan's completely lost, but all he knows is that Broly has now grown a lot stronger. Currently, Goku is on King Kai's planet training, although of course he would sense this. And King Kai's freaking out because Broly's back. They thought he was dead, but Goku says he'll handle it. He teleports to Earth, grabs Vegeta, and teleports both of them to Gohan. Vegeta can't believe this guy is still alive and somehow on Earth. Like, really, what are the odds of them defeating Broly and then he's launched out into space and ends up on Earth frozen in ice for a few years? Isn't that kind of ridiculous? But what happened to him? Why is he stronger? Vegeta says it's because he's the legendary Super Saiyan, but Gohan points out what's on his forehead. He has that weird mark on it, and nobody can tell what that means, but King Kai's watching over, and when he hears of it, he immediately contacts the Supreme Kai. Normally he wouldn't just casually contact him, but this is dire. Goku and Vegeta turn Super Saiyan 2, but even with 3 Super Saiyan 2s together, it's not enough. Vegeta's mostly been training on Earth, and Goku has gone back and forth between Otherworld. Now, he's not in Otherworld 24/7, but he's training with King Kai, which really helps, and, more importantly, training with some of the dead warriors there. Like, there's one guy named Pycon that he met, and he's also met some other people that have taught him different techniques. But Goku does have one trick up his sleeve. It's something that doesn't really work too well. He only just recently unlocked this. He transforms once more, showcasing a form beyond Super Saiyan 2. This is what he calls Super Saiyan 3. And Broly beckons him to fight. Goku tries to take on Broly with Super Saiyan 3, but even this isn't enough right now. But it does turn the tide of the battle at least. The biggest issue is Super Saiyan 3 is draining Goku constantly. But if they can combine their power into one attack, it might actually be enough to overcome Broly. Broly then jumps up high into the air, launching an attack down at them. Goku says now's their chance. He stays in Super Saiyan 3, charging a Kamehameha. Gohan and Goten join alongside him, with Trunks and Vegeta joining in, charging a final flash. They each launch a beam, and the 5 of them swirl together. At first, Broly's attack is just held back by Goku, but once everyone grants their power to it, the beam struggle is now in their favor. They start pushing Broly's attack back, and he's completely overwhelmed. He's hit directly by the blast and launched out into space, sent flying across the galaxy. He's not launched into the sun though, and thanks to the strength he's gained recently, including the strength he got from the Majin boost, he's badly injured but still alive. Floating out in space, light years upon light years away from where he was just moments ago. He's not done yet. He then starts flying throughout space back towards Earth, powering up as he does so, and from Earth, they sense him coming back. They're ready to counter with one more attack, but as Goku's trying to focus in on it, he then notices something weird. 2 other powers appear in front of Broly in space, and he starts fighting them. Broly doesn't question it. When 2 people get in his way, he immediately starts attacking them. One of them isn't as strong, and when Broly blasts him, he's completely disintegrated, but he regenerates. And then the other one, it's the same thing, although for a different reason. They introduce themselves, Garlic Jr. and Cell. Cell's glad that he can finally test out his power against Broly. Broly's strength right now actually isn't enough to completely destroy him. He was just injured by his attack and regenerated. Meanwhile, Garlic Jr. definitely can't keep up, but his immortality lets him live. The 2 then fight Broly together, and Cell's power alone overwhelms Broly, although it is partially due to Broly's injuries. And Cell makes sure to finish it off, launching a solar Kamehameha that completely destroys every bit of Broly. And back on Earth, everyone is just astounded. Goku was sensing the whole thing, and he could tell that was Cell out there. And he's a little bit confused because the other power feels familiar. Garlic Jr.? Gohan and Vegeta remember his key signature more clearly because it hasn't been as long for them. For Goku, it's been a while since he fought Garlic. Cell then starts talking to Goku into his head. He explains that he went out into space to train, but then he realized that someone was lurking in the dead zone. He always thought it was cool that he could open a portal and just absorb attacks that way, but he completely forgot that Garlic Jr. was in there. So Cell went into there, and he realized that Garlic Jr. was an immortal punching bag. Garlic was terrified at first because Cell just started beating him up out of nowhere essentially. But Garlic started growing from this too. He's been using his immortality to train, and the 2 of them have been working together. They're allies. Garlic isn't really too fond of Cell because of how they met, but they're growing stronger at least, and Cell did free him from the dead zone. Plus, Cell is partially Garlic Jr., so that at least makes him like him more. Garlic says he'll see them all soon, but Cell then reminds Garlic that Goku is his to kill. Goku smirks. He'll be waiting. And Vegeta can't believe he's being so casual about it, but he looks forward to fighting them as well. At least they're not like Broly where they're completely insane, and they're not as terrifying. With that threat defeated, it looks like their work is done here. But then, somebody else teleports in. An unfamiliar face, introducing himself as the Supreme Kai, Shin, alongside Kibito. Goku's a bit taken aback by first because that means this guy should be above King Kai. He's heard about him. Why is he here? Because of Broly? And Shin says it's not because of that, though it's good that they dealt with him again. He says there's a bigger issue at hand, and it's a good thing King Kai alerted him, but he fears it already might be too late. He didn't expect anything right now though, but Broly just hastened this. What is he talking about? They then all sense a horrifying presence. Majin Buu has been awakened. Babidi has been on Earth for a little bit here. He was expecting to use the tournament as a good way to get some power, but when Broly showed up, he decided that was the perfect opportunity. And thanks to Broly's evil nature, it was pretty easy to give him the Majin spell. Now, he wasn't controlling Broly. Broly was completely unrestrained by him. It didn't matter though. The only thing that mattered is that Babidi gained a bunch of power from this. More than enough to awaken Majin Buu. It was the perfect opportunity for him. Things went so well. And the group is completely unprepared because even Shin and Kibito didn't know about this just yet. They then all go over to where they could sense Buu's presence, and there they see Babidi waiting with his minions, and Dapper who's currently fighting Buu, because he's pretty concerned about how reckless this guy could be. And they're pretty stunned because even though they don't fight Dabra, they could sense his power and he feels pretty strong, and Buu just easily decimates him. Vegeta tells Kakarot he hopes that Super Saiyan 3 thing still comes in handy, but Goku mentions the downsides to it. He's not going to be able to use it too much. Great. And Goku wonders where the other fighters are. They could probably get Piccolo, Krillin, Tien, all those other people that helped them. And I didn't mention this in the last video, but Android 17 and 18 are actually alive and on Earth. There's a very simple explanation for this. Even though Cell never really died, remember how I mentioned he nearly got killed by Hachiyak? And even though Hachiyak didn't do as much damage to him as Cell's self-destruction did, I feel that would be enough to cause Android 17 and 18 to still die, and that's how Cell came back super perfect. So they were a part of him, but they couldn't handle all of that, so when he got destroyed, they got destroyed. Everyone killed by Cell was revived. So they are still alive here. All thanks to Hachiyak. Piccolo also joins nearby, apologizing for not making it to Broly, but he kind of expected Goku to teleport to him. Though, with him joining, it's not really going to amount to much because Buu is way too strong. So you might be thinking, well, Goku has Super Saiyan 3, and with everyone's collective power, it should be enough to overcome Buu, right? The issue is, Buu is stronger than he should be right now, by a pretty decent amount. Babidi didn't just get the energy that he needed. He got way more than that. Probably like double the energy that he needed. Because even though the fight with Broly was pretty short-lived, it gave Babidi so much energy that it overcharged Buu. Majin Buu is stronger than he should be. They try to fight him. First, it's just a 1v1 between Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Buu, and then others try and join in, but eventually, when it turns to everyone jumping him, they can't defeat him. They think they could overcome his regeneration maybe, and they try this, thinking that they could just defeat him the same way they defeated Broly, but it's a lot harder than it seems. If they are able to launch one collective attack right now, at their full powers, they could destroy Buu. But it's easier said than done because that basically requires him to just stand there and not try fighting back or using any of the strange techniques he has. They are at least able to kill Babidi in the process, that's pretty simple. And even though they do have a shot at victory right now, Shin thinks it would be better to retreat. They need to come up with a better plan. And since they do have that chance to win, it would be pointless for them to die here and not even try that out. Goku's not too hard to convince, and Vegeta ends up swallowing his pride for it. Goku thinks maybe the Supreme Kai is right. So they're all teleported to the sacred world of Kai. And this also includes Videl. She was present and she came along with them, because they didn't want to just leave her out in the middle of nowhere where they just fought Broly. And she's pretty terrified. Especially now because she's on the sacred world of Kai and can't really do anything. And the rest of them are pretty worried about Earth because everyone's been left behind now. Especially when Videl sees that her father's being sent to stop the threat. Mr. Satan's apparently going to try and stop Buu, and she thinks that's hopeless. Gohan starts trying to pull the Z-Sword like normal and train with it. And Dende's able to go around collecting everyone else that they left behind on Earth, keeping them safe on the lookout. But as he communicates with them, he says that he's pretty worried because they don't have any of the Dragon Balls. Bulma has a copy of the radar and they don't detect any Dragon Balls on it, but then Goten and Trunks remember something. They completely forgot amidst all the chaos. Goten has a bag on him and he opens it, showing it to everybody. All 7 Dragon Balls are inside it. Right before fighting Broly, they collected everything that they needed. And this is great. This puts everybody's mind at ease because the Dragon Balls are safe here, and if anything happens, they could just summon Shenron onto the sacred world of Kai and restore any of the damage or revive anybody. Goku does wonder if they're going to need any extra help though, because even though they're training here, Buu is still going around causing chaos on Earth, and is not sure how much they're going to grow or if it's going to be enough to stop him, even with Gohan training with the Z-Sword. Though, Cell is out there, although he's not really an ally to them, but Goku thinks that maybe he could help them. Vegeta tells him to not even think about it, mainly because Garlic Jr. is with him and he's definitely not going to help. Though Goku says that Cell would definitely be up for a fight like that. Back on Earth, Majin Buu's encounter with Mr. Satan happens, and they do form somewhat of a bond, but over this time eventually, somebody else has a plan to take out Majin Buu, and that ends up affecting Mr. Satan. So the same stuff happens. The evil part of Buu separates out, and then evil Buu fights good Buu, with evil Buu absorbing good Buu, and then becoming Super Buu. So, now there's a bigger threat on Earth. And everybody feels like they're getting prepared, especially because Gohan's able to free Elder Kai from the Z-Sword. Though there is kind of an issue with this. Elder Kai does tell them both about Potara fusion and the ultimate ritual. The ritual might be able to actually get them to win here, but it's going to take some time, especially for Gohan. And as for Potara, it's just a final trump card. They don't want to rely on it right now, especially because, as far as they know, it's a permanent fusion. But Elder Kai starts the ritual on Gohan, as everyone waits here. They kind of regret coming here so quickly, but Shin says it's better safe than sorry. Though Vegeta feels like if they stayed there and actually fought, they might have won and they could have avoided all of this. Although on second thought, Goku does kind of doubt that. It would have been really hard for them to launch one combined attack that's strong enough to defeat Buu, and Buu is pretty dangerous. They've seen the other types of things he's capable of. If he turned even just one of them into candy, they would have had no way to stop him. Still, Vegeta doesn't like the idea of retreating like this, although he's mainly mad that he can't do anything against Buu right now. He doesn't really like the idea of fusing either, so hopefully Gohan's strength will be enough, and hopefully Buu's not going to grow any more than he already has. Half a day passes since the ritual began, and their worst fear is realized. By now they know that Buu can absorb people, and someone else just showed up on the planet. Of course, Buu's power is pretty high and easy to sense from even far away, so Cell teleported there with Garlic Jr., ready to face Buu. Maybe this will be the continuation of the Cell games. He'll kill Buu, and then he'll figure out what to do later. This is probably going to turn out really bad though. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What do you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Did you think the Cell Saga had a lot of stuff happening at once? Well, the Buu Saga is going to be pretty much the same here. Broly came and now Buu's here. But that's not all. We'll be covering all that and more in this 8th part of What If Everything Was Canon. Cell and Garlic start fighting Buu together. Right now, Cell is actually stronger than Buu, and he's loving this fight. It's a ton of fun for him, while Garlic is still weaker than both of them, but hey, he's immortal, and he's definitely way stronger than before. Everyone watching on the Sacred World of Kai is amazed. No wonder Cell was able to beat Broly. After all, he's pretty much been training this entire time. It looks like everything's under control, and maybe it's better this way because Cell gets satisfied by a fight with Buu, and that means they probably won't have to worry about him as much. Buu is the worst enemy right now, just because he's so unpredictable and uncontrolled. They'd rather go with the devil they know than the devil they don't. But then, the worst possible thing happens. Cell doesn't realize that Buu can absorb other people. He doesn't even go after Garlic Jr. because it won't benefit him that much. Although, if he did absorb Garlic Jr., he'd probably also become immortal. He just goes right for Cell, and Cell isn't prepared for this. Buu's able to absorb him successfully, and now everyone starts freaking out. Especially Garlic Jr. because he's gonna have to face Buu's wrath right now. Buu undergoes a transformation, now becoming, it's not really easy to come up with a name for him like Buu Tanks, Buuhan, or whatever. Would we just call him Cell Buu? Buu Cell? Let's just call him Buu Cell Absorbed. In a panic, Garlic Jr. puts 2 fingers on his forehead and teleports away. Thanks to all his training with Cell, he also knows instant transmission right now. He doesn't teleport too far away. He's still on Earth, but he was just getting away from Buu, and despite him being immortal, he doesn't want to get absorbed by Buu. He's not necessarily worried about dying here. But of course Buu starts chasing him and then hits Garlic Jr. with a beam, which causes him to partially disintegrate but then quickly regenerate. And Buu knows he's immortal because he has Cell's knowledge now, so he could just mess around with Garlic for a bit. Garlic keeps on teleporting away while Buu chases him. But then Garlic Jr. does think of something on a whim. At one point, Buu tries to hit him again and the attack is completely blocked. Garlic Jr. quickly opens the dead zone and closes it, just to block the attacks. It's a new technique that he calls the dead zone barrier, so whenever an attack gets close to him, the dead zone will open and absorb the attack. Buu even tries to absorb Garlic Jr., but he does this again, completely surrounded by a wormhole to the dead zone. Not only is he immortal, he's untouchable. And then he opens the dead zone even further, trying to absorb Buu in it. Buu can resist the pull of it pretty easily, but then Garlic just pushes it towards him, and he traps Buu in the dead zone. Okay, that at least should hold him for a little bit, but Garlic doesn't think it'll hold him forever because he's part Cell. He's gonna know how to open the dead zone himself because Cell does. Everyone on the Sacred World of Kai doesn't want to wait anymore. Goku gets ready to teleport back to Earth using Garlic's key signature. But as he's looking for the key signature, he senses something horrifying. It's not Garlic's key. It's something else, something completely different in a completely different area. And it's a very evil key too. Shin looks into it and feels the same thing. Elder Kai wonders what's going on, but he's focused on the ritual, so Kibito looks into the crystal ball, and he's horrified. King Yama then starts talking to the Supreme Kai. It's an emergency. He wouldn't be talking directly to the Supreme Kai otherwise. Since Buu has been left to his own devices on Earth and has killed a bunch of people, there have been a huge excess of souls that have came to Otherworld recently, and that made things a little bit hectic. He's not sure exactly what happened, but They have a machine that processes the evil souls, and it looks like all the evil souls escaped it and then merged together into something completely different, a demon made of pure evil, now causing havoc in Otherworld. And what's worse, all the dead souls are returned to the living world. Considering how widespread this is, it does seem like it might even be a bigger threat than Boo.
Great, more stuff for us to deal with.
Can't you guys wait for my ritual to be done? It would be helpful to have Gohan with us, but I don't think we could wait much longer.
Once Gohan's done, I'll go to Earth with him. You two can handle whatever that is.
I can't do a Piccolo impression. Anyways, Goku grabs Vegeta and teleports him to Otherworld. Piccolo's gonna wait here with Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Videl and go back to Earth to fight Boo. Videl doesn't want to be dragged into this, though. Meanwhile, Garlic Jr. is waiting patiently for Boo to return. Surely he's gonna figure it out soon. It's only been a few minutes. And then he hears a deafening scream. Boo didn't open the Dead Zone using Cell's power. He screamed to open it, creating a portal that took him back to Earth. This is just to terrify Garlic even more, showing him that he's so strong that he doesn't need any of those special powers.
Did you seriously think that was gonna hold me? I'm far stronger than anyone right now.
Garlic Jr. considers just hiding in the Dead Zone right now. But before he could do anything, Boo just has fun beating him up. He kind of regrets wishing for immortality right now because ever since he got it, he's just been a punching bag for everybody. But then, Boo's distracted by something. He feels that same evil presence, and the Cell part of him makes him a lot more fight-hungry right now. And even if Cell wasn't a part of him, I feel like Boo would go for this anyways. He then teleports to Otherworld as well, missing Goku and Vegeta by a little bit. From the lookout, Dende is watching and he sees a bunch of dead people appearing on Earth. He has no clue what's going on in Otherworld, but clearly it's something really big. And as Boo looks around Otherworld for that strong power he just sensed, he then feels a bunch of other strong powers out in space, with a few of them localized on Earth. With all the dead people coming back from Otherworld, that includes any of the villains from the past. You know what? Boo wants to take a little detour and fight them first. What better way to test his power than fighting people like Frieza, Broly, Cooler, etc. Goku and Vegeta meet with King Kai first, and Paikon's on his planet too. Vegeta never got to meet this guy before, so it's interesting to see that this is who Goku was training with, but Paikon's gonna help them. And King Kai is well aware that this is really bad timing because of what's happening on Earth, but it's not like anyone has a choice here. He tells them they need to go to Hell. That's kind of mean. No, they literally just need to go to Hell to fight whoever's there. So Goku, Vegeta, and Paikon go to Hell. And there, they encounter what looks to be a giant monster. It's Janemba. Why does every enemy have to show up at the same time? Right now he seems a little bit mindless almost. He's kind of just bouncing around and shouting his name. They try and fight him as he is right now, but it's not really enough at the moment. The three of them together are really strong, especially when Goku goes into Super Saiyan 3. But Janemba effortlessly fends them off. And a few minutes into their fight with Janemba, Boo teleports into Hell, looking on and seeing who they're fighting. Now he's really interested. So, he jumps in to fight too. Great, just what they needed. All hell breaks loose as we now have a 1v1v3. Janemba versus Boo versus Goku, Vegeta, and Paikon. This fight goes on for a little bit, and then Janemba transforms once more, becoming Super Janemba. Goku kind of realizes that he and Vegeta might be screwed right now. Both of these guys are way too strong for them. It's not like they grew too much stronger on the Sacred World of Kai. Boo and Janemba are a good match for each other right now, but these three aren't really doing too much. So Goku tells Vegeta they have no choice. Thankfully, Janemba's distracted with Boo and vice versa. Paikon asks what they have planned, and Goku almost suggests the fusion dance, which he has learned here. He tells Vegeta it's a temporary method of fusion. He actually mentioned this before when Elder Kai brought up the Potara earrings. The issue is, Vegeta doesn't know the fusion dance. Or they could do Potara fusion, which guarantees a perfect fusion, and will probably let them win the fight. But Vegeta says he'd rather risk the dance than permanent fusion. Even though the dance does have a chance of failure, he doesn't want to be joined with Kakarot forever. And Goku says it probably wouldn't be forever, it would just be until they could use the Dragon Balls again, because maybe that could undo the fusion. He's not entirely sure, but whatever, he understands Vegeta's choice. The two of them practice fusion for a bit, and then they perform the dance. But Vegeta messes up this time, causing a failed fusion, Veku. The confident failed fusion goes in to fight Boo and Janemba, while Paikon just watches on a little bit dumbfounded because he doesn't think they're going to accomplish anything. Before Veku could even make it into the fight, a stray blast from Janemba sends the fusion flying back. So now they have to wait 30 minutes for the fusion to run out. Thankfully, Boo and Janemba's fight is pretty much endless right now, and Veku does serve as a good distraction to keep the fight going on longer. The worst thing would be Boo absorbing Janemba right now, and he wants to prolong this fight as long as possible because of that possibility. So, even though he doesn't really stand a chance here, he fights them and just dodges all of their attacks. Back on the Sacred World of Kai, Gohan's ritual completes, and he's sent to Earth for when Boo returns. Shin and Kibito grab everyone on the lookout too to keep them safe, and they bring them to the Sacred World of Kai. And after seeing the ritual, Piccolo gets an idea. He's got something in mind that hopefully won't take as long as Elder Kai's ritual. So Gohan waits on Earth, and he passes time by defeating any of the threats that show up because all these dead people are here now. Goten and Trunks are with them too, and they go and fight Adolf Hitler. I still can't believe that happened in the movie, but it did. And as Gohan's waiting around, Garlic then shows up. He can see how much Gohan's grown, and he's kind of terrified to see him because of what happened last time he fought Gohan. He tells Gohan he's not looking for any trouble. Look, he'll help them fight Boo, and then he'll leave them alone. He just wants to be free from this. He doesn't really like sticking around Cell, even though he has been growing a lot stronger, because he's just a punching bag. And Gohan knows that he can't really just let Garlic go, because if he does, Garlic's going to cause chaos somewhere else or try to enact some evil plan. But Garlic gives Gohan his word. He'll help him fight Boo, and then they'll be done for good. He still wants his revenge against Kami, and he knows that Kami's gone now. He's a part of Piccolo, so if anything, he wants revenge against Piccolo now, and Gohan, and Goku. But he won't go after any of them, and he won't go for the Dragon Balls to revive his father or anything. Gohan doesn't know if he could trust this, and it's only a matter of time before Garlic does something else, but whatever. He kinda does need all the power he can get right now. Deku continues trying to survive, and thankfully 3 other fighters show up to help. Gohan, Piccolo, and Garlic. Gohan shows off his new ultimate form, Garlic doesn't show off any new form, and then Piccolo also shows off a new form, weirdly enough. Considering how desperate the situation is, he decided to take desperate actions. He takes on a brand new Power Awakened form. He used the Dragon Balls to wish for his potential to be unlocked. Gohan wishes that he thought to do that, because that would have been a lot quicker. But wait, why would he use a wish on that? They need the Dragon Balls. And Piccolo says they don't need to worry. Dende and the Dragon Balls are on the sacred world of Kai right now, and considering the circumstances, he decided to have Shenron save the other 2 wishes. Dende actually just upgraded the Dragon Balls while he was there, in order for Piccolo to get the best power boost possible. So they still have 2 wishes if they need, and they also have Namek's Dragon Balls. Considering this is a special case, Dende allowed this. Shin was able to bring Piccolo to Earth and then grab the other 2. Deku, who then defuses into Goku Vegeta, is a bit confused to see why Garlic's there. And Pikkon is just kind of lost in general, but Gohan says they need all the help they can get, and Garlic will help as a great distraction. The 3 of them fight together with Pikkon, as Goku and Vegeta get ready to do the fusion dance. Goku asks Vegeta if he really doesn't want to try the Potara, and Vegeta says he's not doing that. They'll get the fusion right this time. And actually, he has another good idea. If they do their fusion, the Potara will still have some other use. Gohan and Piccolo actually make some good progress against Boo and Janemba, but even with their respective power boost, it's not going to be enough here. Mainly because they're fighting 2 really strong villains at the moment. If it was just Janemba or Boo, they would actually be able to win. Pretty easily, in fact. But their attention is divided because of that. Although, they decide maybe if they focus all of their power on one person and just ignore the other fighter, that might be the better strategy to help them win here. So they put all their focus on Boo. And Boo's smart now, he notices what they're doing. They're going to try and kill him. They want to get him out of the way because they realize he's the bigger threat at the moment. He knows exactly what they're scared of. So, he enacts his newest plan. Amidst his fight with Janemba, he's been placing pieces of himself all over the battlefield. Janemba is able to dodge attacks really easily because he can dematerialize himself whenever he wants. He's pretty fast and pretty strong too on top of that. So that's why Boo has been doing this slowly. And the best part is, Janemba doesn't know about his absorption yet. But if Boo gets this wrong one time, Janemba's going to know of it, and he's not going to get another chance. The pieces of Boo slowly creep towards Janemba, and then all coalesce together. In one swift motion, they all jump on top of Janemba. Janemba tries to escape it, but it's already too late. He's completely surrounded by Boo's pieces. And then, he laughs maniacally as he powers up. And at the same time, there's 2 huge surges of power. The first surge of power comes with Janemba turning into Janembu, but the other surge in power is Goku and Vegeta successfully completing the fusion dance. Although, now that Boo has absorbed Janemba, this fusion might not be enough. Gohan then feels a hand on his shoulder. Looking next to him and seeing a fighter, introducing himself as Gogeta, the complete fusion of Goku and Vegeta. He then tells Gohan and Piccolo he has something for them, with each of them getting a Potara earring. Gogeta could tell that he's incredibly strong right now, and he could even utilize Super Saiyan 3 of course, but he might need a little bit of extra help. He asks if the 2 of them can fuse, and they're not really against it, especially because they know they always have the Dragon Balls. Gogeta kinda chuckles because Vegeta knew about that and he still didn't want to go ahead with Potara, but whatever. Pikkon and Garlic Jr. just kind of stand there watching on. Gogeta gets ready to face Janembu as Gohan and Piccolo place on the Potara earrings, fusing into Piccohan. And as the 2 fusions stand side by side, this is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Did you think the Cell Saga had a... Boo has absorbed Cell, and now has Janemba's power too. But thankfully, Goku and Vegeta have fused, as have Gohan and Piccolo. Will this duo of fusions be able to stop Janembu though? We'll be covering all that and more in this 9th part of What If Everything Was Canon. The fusions start fighting, and immediately it's pretty clear that Janembu is way stronger than anyone they've ever faced before. The combined power of those two villains plus Cell, it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And just because they fuse doesn't mean they're going to have an easy time here. Gogeta thinks that if he were fighting this fight alone, he might not be able to do it. Right now he's fighting in Super Saiyan 2. And he can use Super Saiyan 3, but he knows it's probably going to drain him a lot. But even with Super Saiyan 3, he wonders if that would be enough power. Though, sensing Pikahan's power, he knows that the two of them combined definitely tip the scales. They do collectively overpower Janembu here. Another issue is his abilities. Buu has all of the abilities of Cell, who has all the abilities of all the people he has DNA from, on top of abilities from Janemba and Buu. Buu even says he spent some time fighting the other people that came to the living world. Like he found Frieza and was able to fight him. Sadly, he couldn't find the resurrected Broly because he would have loved to absorb him. Oh great, it didn't even occur to them that all those villains came back. But Pikahan says not to worry because Gohan was able to stop any of the ones that came to Earth. But they should probably wrap this up quick before Broly does come back. That would be twice within the same week that he'd show up. Gogeta says it won't be a problem though. With this fused power, they could stop anyone, even Janembu. And as Gogeta fights in Super Saiyan 2, he notices Pikahan doesn't transform. At least, it doesn't look like it. He's using a combined ultimate form, and it doesn't really change his appearance or anything. There's a slight golden tint to his hair, almost like Super Saiyan, but that's from Piccolo's side, since his Power Awakened form makes his skin more yellow, and he has that same golden aura around him. The potentials of both fighters are being drawn out, and both fusions are incredibly compatible. Goku and Vegeta get a nice boost from that, and Piccolo and Gohan are compatible too, being master and student and also rivals. Gogeta wonders which of the two of them is stronger. He says the two of them should turn this into a challenge. And while Pikahan is more focused on the fight, mainly because of the Piccolo side of him being so serious, he smirks. Both the fusees would love to test out their power as part of this fusion. Buu splits up into two, saying that this will even the playing field. But he warns them that his power is increasing further and further. Will they be able to handle two of him now? Well, Gogeta says this is the perfect challenge. Let's see what fusion can kill Buu first. Sounds good with me. The two fusions go full power, and now Buu's a little bit concerned. They start wailing on each of the pieces of him. Even though he cloned himself, he split his power to do so. Then he starts kind of getting desperate. He starts cloning himself even more and more. Their fight has already left hell by now, and Buu laughs.
I'd love to see both of you try and handle all these clones. Good luck.
This is meant as a distraction. A bunch of clones of Janemba fly around and start attacking all the dead souls there. Not to mention, they even go after some of the gods. They go after all of the Kai. King Kai's planet is destroyed and he's killed, as well as the Southeast and West Kai. The two fusions get more serious. He shouldn't have done that. Gogeta powers up into Super Saiyan 3, and asks Pikahan to lend him energy. Now it's time to finish this. When he asks for energy, he chuckles and says Janembu's not the only one who can clone himself. A Gogeta clone appears and he's in base. Pikahan immediately knows what he's going for here, and then he mentally communicates with Pikkon too. He asks him to help. Pikkon then sticks a hand up, and Garlic Jr. is a bit confused, but Pikkon tells him to do the same. They do so. King Yema's watching, and he decides to help out too, telling everyone to follow along. And even though the Kai are dead, they were already in Otherworld, so they just come back to right where they were. And they communicate to everyone in their quadrants to try and help. Shin and Kibito are now on Earth with everyone. Since Buu was going around attacking the gods, they brought everyone back here because they'd probably be safer. But anyone still left on Earth, including all of the allies of Goku, they start lending energy. The souls of the living and dead help Gogeta. Surprisingly enough, even Dabra, who's now good and in heaven, decides to lend some energy too. He wasn't fond of Buu when he was first revived, but after Buu killed him, he wants some revenge too. Pikahan fights the Buu clones while Gogeta also fights them off, charging a tiny Spirit Bomb. But even though the Spirit Bomb is really small, that doesn't mean it lacks power. Gogeta didn't even know Spirit Bombs can get this powerful. He's compressed it to be very small, and then he pushes his own energy into it. As he's charging the Spirit Bomb, he creates a Soul Punisher. This way, he could charge the Spirit Bomb while transformed. But he could also combine his own attack into the Spirit Bomb. The Spirit Bomb's energy coalesces in his hand and starts pulsating with a rainbow color. This is no normal Spirit Bomb. This is what he'll call a Spirit Punisher. It's finally charged, and he launches the attack at Buu. Buu tries to dodge it by dematerializing, but that doesn't work. The Spirit Punisher homes into him, and then it spreads out like buckshot. A bunch of tiny Spirit Punishers fly around Otherworld, and the living world. It homes onto any clones of Janembu, with most of the power going towards the main one. Pikahan looks around him in amazement. A bunch of these small rainbow orbs fly everywhere, and Buu has no defense against them. And one by one, all of the Buu clones are destroyed. The power of these blasts shake the entirety of Otherworld, filling it with falling particles from the Spirit Bomb, as well as sparkles from the Soul Punisher. Buu is killed, and so is Janemba. The only thing left behind is that demon that actually turned into Janemba, the kid that messed up with the machine and absorbed all that power. He's floating in the middle of Otherworld, pretty terrified, and Gogeta de-transforms, then to go in to catch him. He didn't even realize that Janemba was possessing someone else. But he smiles and then defuses, with Pikahan also defusing too. They didn't even realize that they used too much power. And Pikahan's pretty confused because he thought this fusion would be permanent. Looks like it isn't. Goku then looks over at Vegeta. See? They could have done that. Vegeta regrets having to do that silly dance, and he kinda wishes they just put on the earrings instead. Pikkon then communicates with everyone and says, "Garlic's gone." Pikkon tried to stop him, but he couldn't. He opened some weird portal and then went inside it. Oh, so he went back into the dead zone. Gohan laughs at this. He's sure they'll see him again. But Pikkon says he did contribute to the Spirit Bomb. Goku does think it's kind of a shame though, because with Boo's death, that means Cell died. He never actually got to fight Cell like he wanted. All the dead souls have returned to Otherworld, and the ones who shouldn't have died are going to be revived. They're going to make a wish to revive any good person killed so far. That is going to exclude Cell, and Boo, obviously. While Shin and Kibito did take everyone back to Earth, Dende's still here with them. They wanted to keep him and the Dragon Balls close, so they went to a completely separate planet. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo go there, and this is where they summon Shenron, and they make the wish. But as they're wishing for everyone to be revived, King Kai sends out a warning. Now, he hasn't been dead for long. The fight between Boo and the two fusions didn't last long, and then getting everything else in order didn't take too long. King Kai has only been dead for about 2 hours. This shouldn't be too big of an issue, and they're probably going to be back on Earth by the time this would even be an issue, but he says with him and all the other Kai dying, there was a seal that was broken, and there may be another enemy out there. Vegeta can't believe this. Great, another threat they have to deal with? Well, King Kai says he doesn't know where these threats are headed, but he says they're not nearly as strong as anybody that they fought today. He estimates that any one of them alone would be enough to fight that whole group. Well, they kinda have to deal with this right now, too, and they're not going to be going to search around in space. But King Kai starts looking around, and he can't actually locate the key signatures. Let's rewind a little bit, about an hour beforehand. While Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Gohan were still in the Otherworld, sorting things out with King Yama and such, the other fighters that evacuated with Shin and Kibito are now back on Earth. And that threat that King Kai mentioned made pretty quick work, pretty much immediately after they were freed from their seal. Goten and Trunks just finished fighting a bunch of dead villains. Tien, Krillin, and 18 are back on Earth too, but Goten and Trunks have been here for a bit, and now all those dead villains are gone. But to their surprise, they sense 5 other strong presences coming to Earth, arriving pretty much right after Boo's defeat. Now, one of the issues is that they just lended energy to the Spirit Bomb, so they're a little drained, but the crew of villains shows themselves. It's the Hera clan, led by Bojack. With the Kaio all dying, the seal that held them was broken. And sensing the strong powers here, this is where they immediately went to. Tien, Krillin, 18, Goten, and Trunks prepare to fight Bojack, but he sends his henchmen after them first. And it actually isn't too hard to fight them. At one point, another fighter even joins them too. Yamcha shows up, and Goten and Trunks can't transform right away because of how drained they are. But even without that, the group is able to defeat the Hera clan. Until Kogu transforms, which kind of is an issue. Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha fight him together. And thanks to having infinite stamina, even though 18 did lend some Genki to the Spirit Bomb, she's at least not tired out because of that. So she uses her full power, and the 4 of them kill Kogu together. This lets Goten and Trunks rest a bit, because they know they're going to have to fight Bojack next. Goten and Trunks think they have some power left, so they then transform, going into Super Saiyan. Bojack's surprised these kids are so strong, as well as these Earthlings. He skips all the niceties, immediately transforming into his full power.
Time for the slaughter to begin.
With ease, he defeats most of the fighters. Goten and Trunks are more of an issue to him. But Tien, Yamcha, Krillin, and 18 are all taken out. 2 injured to fight. Goten and Trunks are nearly running on empty. Now, it's not like the Spirit Bomb completely wore them out, but it is enough to make a difference, especially after they spent so much time fighting all the dead people on Earth too. But they do put up a good fight. And even though they're worn out, they're determined to win this alone. Trunks turns to Goten. They could be the heroes here for once. They didn't really get to do much against Boo, but this is a time where they could actually show off their power and let everyone know what they're capable of. Goten nods. They were helpless against Broly. They were helpless against Boo. But here, they could win. They could achieve victory. The two push themselves to their limits, and so does Bojack. Goten and Trunks stand side by side, and they take on the exact same stance, each charging a Kamehameha, combining it into a single blast. Bojack rushes towards them with energy charge in his hands, and together, the 2 Hybrid Saiyans launch their attack. Bojack at first tanks it, and he tries to fly through it. He's getting injured by it, but he's pushing it back, and he continues flying towards the 2 of them. This blast is impressive, but it won't be enough to stop him. And as he continues charging towards them, he then feels something cut into his side, a combined Hyenzan from 18 and Krillin. It cuts pretty deep into him, leaving a gash in his torso, but he stops it from slicing him in half, grabbing it with one of his hands and breaking it. They caught him off guard, and they really annoy him. So, with one hand aimed towards Goten and Trunks, he takes his free hand and then charges another blast, launching it at 18 and Krillin. But then, Goten and Trunks hear someone yell out at them. It's Tien. He tells them now's the time to use their full power, and someone else steps in alongside them. It's Yamcha, performing a Kamehameha, lending his power. And even Tien from nearby tries to use the rest of his energy, realizing that a Kikoho might be too dangerous at the moment. So, even though he doesn't really use this technique, he pulls off the Kamehameha. It's not too hard. Jumping in alongside them, Goten and Trunks then put all their power into this. With Bojack injured and briefly distracted, their combined blast overwhelms him, and Bojack is disintegrated by the beam, as the four of them all fall to the ground, injured and worn out, but victorious. They won. And now we arrive right back to when King Kai was warning everybody else. He started looking around for Bojack and his crew, and he couldn't sense their energy. He realized the reason for that was because they've already been defeated. When he warned Goku and his crew, it was pretty much right after the people on Earth defeated them. Oh, so it looks like everything's fine then. Now with everything sorted out, Goku teleports everyone else back to Earth. Kibito heals the fighters who killed Bojack, and Goku asks them all what happened here. Krillin says Goten and Trunks did a really good job in the fight they just had. Without those two, they wouldn't have won, and they probably would have died. The two kids give a thumbs up, and Goku and Vegeta are proud of their sons. For Goku, it's both of them because he saw Gohan's power today and Goten's power. Vegeta just hopes that Trunks outshined Goten in this fight. And it looks like now Earth is safe. Boo's been stopped. Janemba's been stopped. Cell was an immediate threat, but he's also been stopped. And even though Bojack barely had any time to do anything, and they didn't even know he was a threat in the first place, he was stopped too. Of course, Earth does have some more threats on the way. Garlic Jr. is out there somewhere. Broly left a lot of blood behind, which could be used for DNA samples. There's a wizard on his way to Earth, ready to unleash something devastating. And, with Dabra's death, the Demon Realm now has a new ruler, with the new King Doma trying to plan his next move. So, we've still got a ways to go before Beerus. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's gonna happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Boo and Janemba's power combined, but so did the power of Goku and Vegeta, as well as Gohan and Piccolo. And Goten and Trunks did the same against Bojack. So, where do we go from here? We'll cover all that and more in this 10th part.